I guess we could play the game today. What do you want your waste management name to be? Insert name of your local garbage pickup service, facility, company, whatever you want to call it. I think I want to go by the name Dumpy today. There's a nice ring to it. My new Delta Tau Chi waste management name is Dumpy. What's yours? Well, we'll look forward to hearing all of your waste management floating garbage names. You know, I'm kind of in a quandary here. I don't know about you, but can you leftards, can you America-hating, MAGA-hating commies settle on one or the other? Are we garbage or are we fascist? Are we garbage or are we Nazis? Because we got to keep making new names up every day, and I'm kind of getting tired of it. I don't know about you. Greetings to you. It's Mike Churchill on the Crusade Radio Network. We are live on a Wednesday asking the question of the day.
What in the wide, wide world of sports is going on here?
Well, I'll tell you. Garbage floats. Some garbage sinks, though, doesn't it?
Security and continuing stability. The Republic will be reorganized into the first galactic empire. For a safe and secure society.
Thunder will now you got.
You tell them I'm coming, and hell's coming with me, you hear? Hell's coming with me!
All righty, our call-in line, telephone number, if you'd like to be on the program today, 844-527-8723, 844-5-CRUSADE. Email address, same as it ever hath been. I am KingDude at protonmail.com. I am KingDude at protonmail.com. Crusader Stadium chat room is open for your commentary at crusadechannel.com/chat, welcoming all of you Crusaders across the amber waves of Biden's recavation or Biden's floating garbage service, wherever you may be watching or listening to the broadcast today. Welcome aboard. You can find us on x.com, at the King Dude on Twitter, Crusade Radio Network, or on x.com, on YouTube, rather. Crusade Radio Network on Rumble, Crusade Radio Network as well. And, of course, in the App Store, Crusade Radio Network app for the iTunes and Google Play Store as well. So, The Shape made her closing argument last night while the regime leader was undermining her. How does this keep happening? The Shape has big hoop-de-doo media things scheduled, and when they are supposed to begin, all of a sudden, out of nowhere, Biden shows up on some other media. Last night, he was sitting in front of a laptop somewhere, and somebody turned that thing on. Somebody connected him to whoever was interviewing him or talking to him, and someone put him in the chair and told the old man, no, don't start yet. No, wait. Hold on. Is she gone yet? Okay, go. And then they started the interview. You know, there's a few people that have picked up on this, that Biden keeps doing this, that the regime leader keeps on basically telling his second in command, his most trusted right-hand woman, that she's not fit for his office. That's basically what the message is here. I'm going to go out and I am going to undercut her at every point in the campaign, every opportunity that he is given. So if last night was the closing argument, and Biden didn't just... he didn't just kind of muscle in on her territory and then undercut her or undermine her time. He did it in a spectacular fashion so that by yesterday evening, no one is talking about By 9 o'clock last night, Eastern Standard Time last night, no one is talking about a damn thing that the Shape had to say. Instead, the world is abuzz that the regime leader, the president of the United States, had called all of Trump's supporters, 80 some odd million, 90 million, however many there are, floating garbage. As a matter of fact, if you were listening to the coverage that we had last night of the rally in Allentown, because we're living here in Allentown, Pennsylvania, there was a moment in the rally where Trump played a video as part of his presentation. And when the video was ended, he started going through the routine of thanking the people that were in attendance there. One of them was Marco Rubio. And Trump said, Marco, where are you? Where is Marco? Get up here, you Marco. And Rubio then got up on the stage and then broke the news. First place that we heard it was from Rubio that Joe Biden had just given an interview, and he had been asked what he thought about the MAGA Square Garden rally, and he brought up the joke, the Hinchcliffe joke, which was just such a small part of the routine. It almost like it never happened. It took all of 10 seconds. And Biden's comment, well, I'm true international. Do you have it, don't you? Biden saying MAGA is garbage. I think that we might want to run this one in the first segment so everyone has a... So if you didn't hear it, this is what he actually said. Here you go.
Or Puerto Rico, where I'm in my home state of Delaware, they're good, decent, honorable people. The only garbage I see floating out there is his supporters. His demonization of things is unconscionable, and it's un-American.
His demonization of things is unconscionable. This while your vice president, your vice regime leader, was basically in your backyard, just slandering the opposition candidate. How American is that? By the way, this was a new one on me last night. Did you know that Trump basically said, when it was said that, look, these people at the mall, they want to hang Mike Pence, that Trump said, so what? In 4 years, or 3 years and 10 months, I'd never heard that one. That was a completely new fabrication that he said, so what? Oh, and by the way, he was also just sitting there, apparently lighting and smoking cigars, even though he doesn't drink. He must have had a snifter of brandy in his hand, and was apparently, according to the Shape last night, he was enjoying the carnage that was happening at the Capitol. Now, I love this thing that she says, and he led an armed mob. He led an armed mob. Okay. So we're going to deal with these things one at a time here, just for prudence sake. He didn't lead anyone. He never left the stage. He got into the beast. So he didn't lead anyone, one thing. Two, who was armed? The only people that were armed were the Capitol Hill cops. And there were Americans that were killed that day. Yeah, exactly one. Her name was Ashley Babbitt. She was a veteran of the United States Air Force, honorably discharged, and she had gone to the Capitol to voice her disapproval at the shenanigans that were pulled by you and by Biden after the 2020 election. She was there peacefully. She was not armed. She didn't have a grenade launcher. She didn't have a gun. She didn't even have a slingshot. And yet Ashley Babbitt was shot in the head, basically. In the cheek, it came out through the throat and severed her carotid artery, was shot in the face and was killed on stage. There was an American that was killed, and it was not a cop. It was not one of the hallowed, precious Capitol Hill police officers, our vaunted men and women in Capitol Hill police garb. This was just this whole thing. Don't you just, okay, here we are, 6 days to go. Don't you just want this to be over? You just want it to be over. We want the nightmare that is Obama, Biden, and now the Shape, Harris. We just want it to end. You know, I was thinking back on this. I was on the air in the Sirius XM. Well, I'm trying to think here. So January 20th, 2009. I think the merger had gone through by 2009, and we were the Sirius XM Patriot channel. So in 2009, I would have been on in the afternoon. We would have been on, I pretty sure 3 to 6 p.m. Central would have been the time. That was before we got moved. They took Bill Bennett off, and they moved me, the champion of morning drive on satellite radio. They moved me to morning drive, and it wasn't even known whether or not people would tune into a show like this in the morning, because you're used to getting Eddie and the Breitbart breakfast flakes. And in any event, I was thinking back on this. From the time that Obama hit the stage in the summer of 2000, or in the spring or late winter of 2008, all the way up until today, and you can't even say that the Trump years were good years. I think that they were better than the last 3.5 years. But you got to remember, President Trump spent the last 2 years of his presidency fighting impeachment, fighting the Russia hoax. The first 2 years was the Mueller investigation and the Russia. There never really was a moment of peace. The opposition party has basically been at war with us since Obama. You can even go back a little further than that and say that the opposition party has been at war with us since 9/11. Since they pulled the trigger on whoever did what on that day and began the never-ending warfare state that if you were born after, I think the date is October the 23rd, if you were born after October 23rd, 2001, you have never known a day of peace. The United States has been engaged in a military activity, you can call it a war if you want, somewhere in the world every single day until after October the 23rd, 2001. Remember that we used to play that Carlin bit. I think I'm going to play it when we come back about, well, we like war. We're a warlike people. So we endured the 8 years of the neocon Bush and the $2 trillion that was squandered in blood and treasure in Iraq, the death of 6,000 and some odd brave young patriotic young men, the maiming of another 60 or 70,000, the death of 500,000 Iraqis, the short sale inspired crash of 2008, the Great Reset, the Great Recession as they called it, the implementation of all the things that came with Obama. We got saddled with the first porculus succubus stimulus bill. The debt and the deficits have never gone back down. Trump wasn't even able to do it. They had Congress for 2 years. You got stuck with the Affordable Care Patient Protection Act, or Obamacare. That was the next thing. There's just a never-ending assault by this monster that's perched on the banks of the Potomac River, and then the media industrial complex that supports it, and then in the after years, and then woke comes out of that. It's just, I don't know about you, but I'm kind of tired of it. It wasn't like this in the 80s. It just wasn't. Hell, it wasn't even like this when Clinton was president. I would take the halcyon days of the Clinton regime over what we have had to endure. Yesterday, after the show was completed, after we broadcast live Trump's press conference from Mar-a-Lago. By the way, a significant policy statement came out of that the Trump administration, when it takes over in January, is going to pursue sanctions and the seizure of assets of all the cartels involved in the violence that's going on in the United States. That would include the Sinaloa cartel and others. And this is exactly what some of us have been talking about. This is basically first step towards a letter of marque and reprisal. Going out, okay, you're a gang member, you're in the cartel, you're in the U.S., you're a marked man. We will find you, LEO will find you. We will hunt you down, and we will arrest you. And if you committed crimes here, we're going to prosecute you. If you didn't, we're going to deport your ass back to Mexico. By the way, there was another proposal yesterday that of killing a U.S. citizen or a law enforcement officer in the line of duty, you get automatic death penalty. So there were some things that came out of this yesterday. Well, let me get back to the narrative here. So since 2000, since September the 11th, 2000, yes, I think it's accurate to say the government of the United States has treated all of us as if we are floating garbage. I don't think it's inaccurate. I think Biden had it right. But it wasn't just MAGA people, it was all of us. And now we want it to come to an end. Let me just tell you how this next couple of days is going to play out. We're already seeing the shenanigans. We're already seeing this. There's a ballot. There was a mail-in ballot drop box. What city was that in Washington State? Do you know? Somewhere in Washington State that somebody set afire. This is in a state that the Democrats own. And apparently then we want their voters going. Okay, Vancouver, Washington, somebody said a mail-in ballot drop box that apparently was filled. Somebody set it on fire. So you have Democrats now burning Democrat votes in a Democrat-controlled city. Translation, look, we're done with this whole government democracy crap. We just want anarchy. We either want direct, totalitarian, tyrannical control, or we want anarchy and we don't want anything at all. People in Bucks County, Pennsylvania 2 days ago were told that they weren't going to get to cast their ballots. They were standing in line. Many of them have been standing on line for hours. A woman, an activist, I forget her name, we'll find it. She's a very well-known MAGA activist in that area, was actually in the vote. She was in line to vote when the poll workers with the cops with her, or with them, came to inform the people in Bucks County, Pennsylvania, you're probably not going to get to get to the voting to the actual ballot box or the machine or however it is that they do it there before we're going to close tonight, so you might as well go home. And at this point, the activist lady, it's Lila something or other, just turned around and said, no, hey, everyone, just stay in line. Stay in line. You have the right to vote, which then prompted the people, and this is in a Democrat county. Bucks County is a Democrat county. Well, it was. I think it turned. I think that Scott Pressler may have assisted in flipping it red. But the secretary of, not the secretary, say the county board of election supervisor, whatever they go by, that runs is responsible for running the actual elections, basically has been issuing these orders here to harass people in line and to try and suppress the vote. They don't want people voting. The party of democracy now is trying to stop legitimate citizens from voting and in trying to compel the state of Virginia, in this example, to let illegal alien criminal trespassers vote. But in any event, so she goes, no, hey, everyone, just stay where you're at, stay in line. They arrested her. They read her rights right there under some arcane Pennsylvania law, and they handcuffed the woman and they perp walked her out. This is also happening in a couple of other counties where, you know, there's video on X. I'm sure Maggie can find it, or she's probably seen it. There's video on X of these cops. One of them looks like he's dancing. As he's making his way to the polling, you can see all the people standing in line to vote. And these two cops are carrying signs that say polls closed. And they go to plant the signs. They just pick a spot in a line where there are people standing in line in our precious democracy to cast their ballots. But apparently they were dressed in too much red. And the cops just put the signs, ballots closed, polls closed, at a random spot in the line, so that all of the people that see what the signs, the little A-frame signs, that see what they say, are basically told, go home. So yes, there is voter suppression everywhere. And the reason there is voting suppression, you can look at, for example, Elon Musk just posted this about an hour ago, 2 hours ago. Republicans take lead in New Jersey in-person early voting. New Jersey? GOP with 144,644 and the Democrats with 139,999. Elon had also posted something out yesterday about the early voting numbers that are going on in Pennsylvania, and it's the GOP just mopping the floor with the Democrats. The message is that Kamala, the shape, is a terrible candidate. The Democrats are an absolutely detestable and awful party, and more people than not do not want a continuation of what's going on today. The irony is they actually do want new leadership, and his name is Trump. So all of this we're going to talk about during the course of the program here today, but I really want to hear what your waste management name is. Put it in the chat room at crusadechannel.com or in the YouTube chat. What is your waste management floating garbage name? Maybe we should give a prize away, Maggie, for whoever comes up with the most craftiest. It's Halloween tomorrow. You can dress as a piece of Biden floating garbage.
Crusaders, I'm Janet Huxley at the Crusade Radio Network News Desk with your Crusade Crucials for Wednesday, October 30th, 2024. This report is brought to you by Miles Franklin Precious Metals. With over $10 billion in sales and over 3 decades of experience, Miles Franklin will handle all your precious metal needs. For the Mike Church Show special price list, email them info@milesfranklin.com. In the market report, the Dow Jones closed down 0.36% at last close, while the S&P was up 0.16%, and the NASDAQ was up 0.78%. In National Day calendar news, today is National Candy Corn Day. In the late 1800s, George Reniger of Wonderly Candy Company created candy corn. His sweet treat represented the bright colors of corn kernels, and originally candy corn was yellow, orange, and white. It's also National Publicist Day. On October 30th, 1906, the New York Times printed verbatim the very first press release written by Ivy Lee, the father of modern PR. Ivy Lee represented the Pennsylvania Railroad. It's also National Speak Up for Service Day. And our quote of the day, "It is simply impossible to lead without the aid of prayer a virtuous life." St. John Chrysostom. And our saint of the day, St. Alphonsus Rodriguez. You're listening to Crusade Radio Network News.
Hey, it's the King Dude for My Pillow. Mike Lindell sent me my first set of My Pillows 14 years ago. I loved them then, and I still love that same set of original My Pillows today. True story. Now, that's a testament to the craftsmanship and quality of the My Pillow. But don't take my word for it. Go try it for yourself. Use my unique code and get huge discounts and free shipping on all orders by going to mypillow.com/King Dude. That's mypillow.com/King Dude.
Did you know it took centuries to develop the Hail Mary prayer? First, the monastics began adding, "Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with you," to the end of their psalm readings. Later, "Blessed art thou among women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus," was added. And by the 15th century, the Hail Mary was complete and took the place of the 150 Our Fathers many prayed daily. Today, the work of art that is the Rosary is cherished by millions, and there is no finer maker of this art than Maggie O'Connell's Little Bayou Rosary. Find her rosary creations today at shop.mikechurch.com.
We all have concerns about the future of America and your family's survival in any emergency. Hi, folks, it's Mike Church, and my friends at Legacy Food Storage take your concerns seriously and will help you prepare for almost any disruptions, from survival gear, power and lighting, to emergency food, and they specialize in educating their clients. Secure your family's emergency plans with the trusted leader, Legacy Food Storage, at legacyfoodstorage.com. Use the coupon code KINGDUDE for 10% off, and every order is shipped for free.
What's the difference between your average day late dollar short podcast and the Mike Church Show live? About the same as between the new Walker, Texas Homo and Walt Longmire.
Meeting you with a view to a kill, face to face in secret places. the chill.
All aboard that's coming aboard. The freight train of truth is leaving MAGA station. Mike Church Show is on the Crusade Radio Network on a Wednesday. This portion of the program brought to you by our friends at LegacyFoodStorage.com. You can't ever be too prepared for a weather emergency, a political emergency, a brownout, a blackout, no matter what the emergency or the disruption in services may be. Make sure that you are prepared to take care and see to your family's comfort, and food is a major part of that. So stock up on good, storable food like you get from our friends at LegacyFoodStorage.com. Use the coupon code KingDude at checkout. Take 10% off your food order. And, you can order a la carte. You can order just any meals you want. You can order package deals. And they come in a self-contained storage container, so you don't have to worry about storage. Great company. And they've been at this a long time. If you have questions about your order, there's a toll-free number on the website. Give them a call. Start a shopping cart, tell them what you got in it, tell them what you're trying to do, how big your family is, what you're preparing for, and they are more than happy to assist. That's our friends at LegacyFoodStorage.com. You're going to buy emergency food rations anyway. Why not shop with someone who's doing business with us? LegacyFoodStorage.com, coupon code KingDude. See, there it is right there. Bucks County, Pennsylvania voters being turned away. I was going to jump in on and try to get the end of the story there, because it is happening out there. Let me just talk for a moment about what's happening in the state of Virginia. I learned a lot about this yesterday, so I can actually talk about it with a little bit of authority. Yeah, what is your waste management or hefty garbage bag floating garbage name of the day? Did you take a name? Well, everyone has to have a name. Everyone, I see that BK in Michigan is Hefty Tall Can. Joe Friday says he's going to trick or treat with his wife as Flotsam and Jetsam. That is literally floating garbage. Flotsam and Jetsam. I think Flotsam and Jetsam, and I think of the Little Mermaid. Why is that? Because in Ursula's song, the two little, I don't know what the creatures are, that her henchmen are Flotsam and Jetsam. Put your name in the Crusader Stadium chat room. We're making American talk radio and chat rooms great again. CrusadeChannel.com/chat. Okay, let's just talk about what's happening in Virginia, because a lot of people have pointed this out, and a lot of people are very upset about this, that the Biden regime, basically the Department of Injustice, sued the state of Virginia, said, you got to put, and it's not a lot of names, okay? You got to put those 1,300 illegal, undocumented aliens back on the voter rolls. And the governor of Virginia, Glenn Youngkin, went like, hell we do, and said, no, we're not going to do it. So the Biden regime said, oh, yeah, well, watch this. They went and they got a court order from the lowest court there, the local circuit court or whatever. And then Youngkin appealed to the next level up. That court went, yeah, we're with the Biden regime on this one, obviously Democrat control. And then Governor Youngkin going, this is ridiculous. Is now appealed to the Supreme Court. There were now appeals to the Supreme Court in 7 states. Now, if 2020 is any indication, there probably isn't going to be any justice for these people. And I would imagine then that Governor Youngkin will then be faced with, does he want the Biden regime to threaten that he's going to be arrested by U.S. Marshals when he issues an executive order commanding the Virginia Secretary of State and all the intended officers underneath to not obey that illicit order? You do not obey what the Injustice Department has ordered us to do. I am directing you to not obey. Now, this is what I want everyone to know about this particular, this is so outrageous. Here's how this law came about in Virginia. The Democrat-controlled legislature in 2006, they're the ones that are responsible for this law that says if you're an illegal alien, undocumented alien in the state of Virginia, it is illegal for you to register to vote, and it is illegal. It's a felony for you if you vote. So the Injustice Department is basically saying, no, these people have to commit felonies. Guess who signed the bill? Hillary's running mate, then Governor Tim Kaine. It was Kaine that signed the bill. It was Kaine that enforced the bill because there was a court challenge to it, and Governor Kaine, that at the time defended the bill, and after he won in court, nothing was said about it until the Biden regime Injustice Department. Now, why is it that the Biden regime Injustice Department is trying to get undocumented illegal aliens on the voter rolls in Virginia? Two reasons. One, they actually want them to vote, and they know who they're going to vote for. That's obvious. But the main reason is to mentally disenfranchise voters in Virginia, piss them off, and depress them. Make them throw their hands up in the air and go like, it won't matter anyway. They're just going to wipe my vote out with the vote of an illegal alien. This is to suppress the turnout. Now, why are they doing that in Virginia? They obviously think that Virginia is in danger of going Trump. It would also, this is the game. I feel like I'm on Game of Thrones now. This is the game. If Trump wins Virginia, he's going to drag Hung Cao to the United States Senate with him. That's what's happening. Trump wins Ohio, he's going to drag Moreno to the Senate with him. Trump wins Pennsylvania, he's going to drag, what's Doug's, the guy that's running against Bob Casey Jr., he's going to drag him to the United States Senate with him. They have to do this. I said this yesterday, this is the greatest tsunami in a shift in power since 1994. When Gingrich took over when the Republicans took over the House of Representatives, you had to go all the way back to 1994. Now, there was a major change in power in 2010 after Nazi Nancy Pelosi and the Obamacare fiasco, and the porculus succubus stimulus and all the other things. People don't remember this. I remember this. I remember. And why is my chat room not populated with more people at crusadechannel.com/chat? Do you remember Dave McCormick? I think he's right there.
Make it easier to have children. So President Trump, in his 2017 tax plan, had a child tax credit. I would triple the size of that. So that needs to be much more significant. We need to have child care.
This is Dave McCormick, a retail politic campaigning in a diner in Pennsylvania.
Tax credit, because fertility treatment is so expensive. Most Americans can't afford it. And if they can't afford it, they can't experience the joy of children. When I was a CEO...
Well, no, they can't experience. It's called adoption. By the way, this is one of the things that after Trump wins, we will go from being cheerleaders and leaders of this power shift needs to happen, things need to change, to being the loyal opposition. If people think that we're just gonna sit here and go like, oh, because Trump proposed it, we're all for it, and that's not gonna happen. In any event, Obama ended stipend internships. He made it illegal in 2009. Most people won't even remember this. Your son or your daughter, were they a college understudy, could go to work for someone like me. Remember, we used to have them all the time. Could come to work for someone like me as an intern. They can learn the business from someone that's a pro and knows what the hell they're doing. It's outside of school. It's actually in the field. And in exchange for that, we would offer our interns we just called it a stipend, $100 a week or whatever. If they had to travel farther, maybe you get them some gas money and what have you. During this reign of terror since 9/11, 2001, one of the first things that Obama did, he ended internships. He made it illegal. You can't. You're not allowed to have. It's illegal. According to the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission, because supposedly it only benefited white kids, it's illegal. You can't have stipend interns any longer. Either you have to hire them, and they're not allowed to volunteer. They're not allowed to come in and just volunteer their time. Now, not as an intern. Now, they could come in and just go like, well, I'll take the job. I take the job. And work for nothing. Yeah, there's so much. Obama also ended, just to show you how far back this evil goes, Obama and the Pelosi Congress, most people won't remember this, I remember, they also ended, not that this was a good thing, but it was a thing, private funding of college loans. Maggie, you had one that you had to pay back. If you had a college loan, there's a very good chance, or a school loan, student loan as it were, there's a very good chance you got it from the bank that your mom and dad banked at. And a very low interest rate, probably 3.5%, 4%, and you probably got 10, 12 years to pay it back over time and what have you here. You got an education, the bank got a little bit of usury out of it. It was kind of a win-win. Obama and the Pelosi Congress made that illegal. Why can Biden say that he has the authority to forgive hundreds of billions of dollars in student loans? Well, it's only because all of the student loans now come from the federal monster. That needs to come to an end, too. Elon's looking for $2 trillion. Start right there. Cut that off immediately. If you want to have this thing called a Pell Grant and that thing wants to survive, fine, you can have a Pell Grant. But the loans ended in the program. Congress has a complete and total authority. You just undo what Obama did. You just repeal that act. Thomas Massey could do it in a page. Okay, folks, 844-527-8723, 844-5-CRUSADE. Play the Biden clip one more time, because I don't think people are going to get tired of hearing that, what their floating garbage Delta Tau Chi name is for today.
Or Puerto Rico, where I'm in my home state of Delaware, they're good, decent, honorable people. The only garbage I see floating out there is his supporters. His demonization of seen as unconscionable, and it's un-American.
But his demon. By the way, again, this is happening while the Shape is giving her closing argument. Why won't these wars end?
I'd like to talk a little bit about the war in the Persian Gulf. Big doings in the Persian Gulf. You know my favorite part of that war? It's the first war we ever had that was on every channel plus cable. And the war got good ratings too, didn't it? Got good ratings. Well, we like war. We like war. We're a warlike people. We like war because we're good at it. And you know why we're good at it? Because we get a lot of practice. This country's only 200 years old, and already we've had 10 major wars. We average a major war every 20 years in this country, so we're good at it. And it's a good thing we are. We're not very good at anything else anymore. Huh? Can't build a decent car, can't make a TV set or a VCR worth of Got no steel industry left, can't educate our young people, can't get health care to our old people, but we can bomb the shit out of your country, all right? Huh? We can bomb the shit out of your country, all right? Especially if your country is full of brown people. Oh, we like that, don't we? That's our hobby. That's our new job in the world, bombing brown people. Iraq, Panama, Grenada, Libya, you got some brown people in your country. Tell them to watch the f*** out, or we'll goddamn bomb them.
A lot of people haven't heard this soundbite.
Well, when's the last white people you can remember that we bombed? Can you remember the last white? Can you remember any white people we've ever bombed? The Germans, those are the only ones, and that's only because they were trying to cut in on our action. They wanted to dominate the world. Bull. That's our fucking job.
If you don't know that bit, that's a 1994. It's a 1994 George Carlin, but that's after the first Gulf War, Operation Desert Storm. This was what they cause, but it's true. It's true. It's true. It's true. No, really, it is true. I want to talk about, since it's going to come up here today, let us talk about there's so much. Let's talk about the shape. Digital media file number 11 queued up. I just want to read this to you. The Shape's closing pitch, filled with hatred. The whole thing was divisive from the start to finish. By the way, I want to know if the Shape, should the unthinkable happen, if she become president, is she going to listen to us pro-lifers? She says she's going to listen to everyone, and then there's all of this malarkey in here about he has an enemies list, I have a to-do list. She never says what's on the to-do list. It's customary when even if you don't mean it, even if you're full of crap and you're just lying to get people to vote for you, it's called a campaign promise. Perhaps you people in the Shape campaign have heard of this. What is what's on the to-do list? You can't just say, I got a to-do list. Everybody goes, yay, to-do list. What's on it? Do you have a kill list?
Like I said earlier, I make a to-do list every day, and I could put anything on it. I could put that I'm gonna change out the faucets in the sink, change out the faucets in the bathroom. Can I actually do that? No, but I can still put it on my to-do list.
Well, then you're a candidate for the presidency. You got it. Look, are you from a middle class family too? I came from a middle. Maggie came from a middle class family, and she has a to-do list. Dude, you're president. You are presidential material. You will rule the world. Why not? Now, what was this that we just saw on the screen that she's going to stop campaigning?
Something about pulling $2 million worth of ads. They're not going to run.
Oh, they're not going to run ads. Oh, okay. Well, we'll get an update on this. Here is the Shape. I'm not going to subject you to much of this because it's all crap and it's all lies. And it really, as I was listening to it, there's a very funny video out there, folks. That's why you listen to the Mike Church Show, because we're live talk radio the way it should be. Comes across, I hope, well on television, on YouTube, and Rumble, and X.com. You can show us that it does by subscribing to the channels. And subscribers are up across all platforms, and then follow us on X. Is that from last night?
No.
Oh, that was from she did a radio interview. Okay. She was on the Breakfast Club. Here is the closing Here's part of the closing argument. By the way, it was only 30 minutes, all on teleprompter. We broadcast Trump last night in Allentown, who was on for 90 minutes, and I'd say about 20 of that was on teleprompter. In any event, here you go.
Many others are still considering who to vote for, or whether you'll vote at all. So tonight, I will speak to everyone about the choice and the stakes in this election. Look, we know who Donald Trump is. He is the person who stood at this very spot nearly 4 years ago and sent an armed mob to the United States Capitol to overturn the will of the people in a free and fair election. An election that he knew he lost.
Knew it.
Americans died
I didn't know it.
as a result of that attack.
Stop the tape! Stop the tape! The only American that died as a result of that alleged attack was Ashley Babbitt. I'm going to say it again. God rest her soul. Eternal rest grant unto her, God. The perpetual light shine upon her. May she rest in peace. Amen. The only person that died that day was a honorary discharged member or officer in the United States Air Force. Her name was Ashley Babbitt. You should remember her name. Roll the tape.
40 law enforcement officers were injured because of that attack. And while Donald Trump sat in the White House watching as the violence unfolded on television,
With
he
popcorn.
was told by his staff that the mob wanted to kill his own vice president. And Donald Trump responded with 2 words: so what?
What kind of a woman say something like that, Dr. Loomis? That was no woman. I can't wait till the day when I never have to hear that wench's voice again. Unless it's from the inside of a jail cell because 60 Minutes went to go interview her. This was a new one on me, though. Have any of you in the listening audience ever heard that Trump was sitting back, smoking cigars, having cognac, enjoying the carnage on TV, and was told that they wanted to kill Pence, and he went, so what? So what? Let them eat Pence, let them kill, they want to kill Pence, let them kill Pence. There's a very funny video out there that I think we should play, and all of you should see. It is of President Trump watching the Shapes acceptance at the DNC. You want a good laugh? This will give you a good laugh. It's because he's watching her, and as she's saying things about him, you go, oh, I didn't even know that one. Here, type this out. And he has a woman sitting next to him that has a MacBook Pro, and she's on Twitter, and he's dictating what the tweet's going to be. And she types like 600 words a minute. She goes, as he's talking, no, back it up. I want that in all caps, put this in all caps. There it is right there. It's playing. Yeah, we'll play the audio, but you can see it on your screen right there if you're watching on X.com or on Rumble or on YouTube. The Trump campaign, of course, responded to all this. And again, I hope that this is over. It was a disaster from the beginning, drowned out. And by the way, we broadcast the first minute while because we were waiting for President Trump to show up in Allentown or for him to take the stage. What did I forgot to talk about this. What did we hear in the background? When the Shape hit the stage, she had to stop because of why? Sirens. In the most lawless city in the United States, in the Capitol, there was probably a murder or a carjacking going on, and the sirens, you could hear them go, woo, 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 and they weren't stationary, they were moving. So they were chasing somewhere or they were going to the scene of a crime. I thought that was just like fortuitous. That was like an ominous freak. It was just like a sign of what was about to happen, which was an absolute crap show. She made no mention of the fact, as a matter of fact, she actually made a claim. I think we have it. We're going to run out of time for this segment. I think we have it. She actually made a claim that basically it was that we'll deport new illegal aliens. Not the 20 million that are currently here. No, they get their welfare, their $2,200 a month, their voting rights, and their high-rise apartments in Manhattan and what have you, and again, kicking kids out of school. Now, if some new ones show up, we might get rid of some of them, but nothing about the ones that are already here. That's a trick or treat.
Fire and Ice Middays are here. Get animated by the fire of Parrot Talk and the ice-cold chill-out of Turley's Believe It or Else and Fiorella Middays show. The Fire and Ice Midday block begins at 10 Central on the Crusade Radio Network. Live talk radio the way it should be.
The Crusade Channel On Demand presents the Deliver Us From Evil tapes, the series featuring former NYPD Sergeant Ralph Sarchi.
Contrary to the skeptics, world-renowned demonologists Ed and Lorraine Warren dealt with the Amityville demons personally in their own home.
The Deliver Us From Evil tapes, the series featuring Ralph Sarchi, real-life stories of the battle against the underworld, demons, and the people they prowl the world looking to ruin. Exclusively on the Crusade Channel. Listen or download the Deliver Us From Evil tapes, Piercing Truth, the Mike Church Show compilations, Mike's feature recordings, and hundreds of other titles in the Crusade Channel On Demand store at crusadechannel.com.
If you want to drastically improve your company's training with bite-sized content that's engaging and customized for the skills your people actually need, well then Learny is for you. You see, Learny's mobile app gives you the flexibility to train your workforce anytime, anywhere. Now I use Learny and so should you. Book your free demo today at learny.com/King Dude. That's learny.com/King Dude.
You're listening to the Crusade Channel, a Black Hat Studios media property, broadcasting live 24/7 from Madisonville, Louisiana, and to the world via crusadechannel.com.
Just when you thought it was safe to turn the radio on, Turley's Believe It or Else has escaped back to the radio. You have been warned. Weekdays at 10 a.m. Central on the Crusade Radio Network. Live talk radio the way it should be.
Hi, I'm Magdalene Rose with today's Crusade Radio Network campaign report for Friday, October 25th, 2024. Here's what's happening today. Former First Lady Michelle Obama will headline a rally in Atlanta a week before the November 5th election alongside celebrities and civic leaders, focusing on engaging younger and first-time voters as well as voters of color. The October 29th event will be hosted by When We All Vote, a nonpartisan civic engagement group that Obama launched in 2018 to change the culture around voting. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is the star of a new $250,000 ad buy from the conservative group Catholic Vote, directed at Catholic voters in Pennsylvania, with a planned expansion to other states. In the television spot, the third-party candidate turned Trump surrogate talks about his own faith, then says he's supporting the Republican nominee because he'll take bold action on the economy, on the border, and on restoring children's health. Catholic Vote President Brian Birch said he'd been in contact with Kennedy for months before and after the Trump endorsement. Talking to their positions on abortion, Kennedy, he said, agreed that we need to be spending an equal amount of money on helping women choose to keep their child as we are in helping them to get abortions. Somehow I doubt that Michelle Obama's nonpartisan civic engagement group is truly nonpartisan. After all, when it comes to the Obamas, nothing is nonpartisan. The Crusade Radio Network, live talking campaign radio the way it should be.
Hey, it's the King Dude for My Pillow. Mike Lindell sent me my first set of My Pillows 14 years ago. I loved them then, and I still love that same set of original My Pillows today. True story. Now, that's a testament to the craftsmanship and quality of the My Pillow. But don't take my word for it. Go try it for yourself. Use my unique code and get huge discounts and free shipping on all orders by going to mypillow.com/King Dude. That's mypillow.com/King Dude.
Did you know it took centuries to develop the Hail Mary prayer? First, the monastics began adding, Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with you, to the end of their psalm readings. Later, Blessed art thou among women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus, was added. And by the 15th century, the Hail Mary was complete and took the place of the 150 Our Fathers many prayed daily. Today, the work of art that is the Rosary is cherished by millions, and there is no finer maker of this art than Maggie O'Connell's Little Bayou Rosary. Find her rosary creations today at shop.mikechurch.com.
Attention Coffee Police Academy students. We will now call the roll. CPA candidate Jones.
Present.
Joe Arabica Friday.
Present.
Tommy.
Oh, I'm here, sir. I just can't seem to keep my eyes open since I started drinking this Barrett Bargain Basement Stale Bean Water.
And just why are you violating CPA coffee code SPW1AM?
Well, that's easy. So I can save up money to get into the Coffee Cop Academy.
Son, breaking CPA rules so you can get into CPA is no way to become a coffee cop. Now, I am afraid we're going to have to...
Uh-oh. Sounds like Lou has found the academy, and he's on his second cup of Abbey Roast.
What does he want?
He wants to know why the CPA didn't recognize his Rougarou nouns.
Rougarou nouns? And I'm the one that rejected his application.
Will Lou the Rougarou have his revenge and grind the coffee cop into espresso? Stay tuned to this station for our next episode. And in the meantime, order Abbey Roast Coffee at shop.mikechurch.com.
Hello, Crusaders. I'm Janet Huxley at the Crusade Radio Network News Desk with your Crusade Crucials for Wednesday, October 30th, 2024. This report is brought to you by Miles Franklin Precious Metals. With over $10 billion in sales and over 3 decades of experience, Miles Franklin will handle all your precious metal needs. For the Mike Church Show special price list, email them info@milesfranklin.com. In the market report, the Dow Jones closed down 0.36% at last close, while the S&P was up 0.16%, and the NASDAQ was up 0.78%. In National Day calendar news, today is National Candy Corn Day. In the late 1800s, George Reniger of Wonderly Candy Company created candy corn. His sweet treat represented the bright colors of corn kernels, and originally candy corn was yellow, orange, and white. It's also National Publicist Day. On October 30th, 1906, the New York Times printed verbatim the very first press release written by Ivy Lee, the father of modern PR. Ivy Lee represented the Pennsylvania Railroad. It's also National Speak Up for Service Day. And our quote of the day, "It is simply impossible to lead, without the aid of prayer, a virtuous life." St. John Chrysostom. And our saint of the day, St. Alphonsus Rodriguez. You're listening to Crusade Radio Network News.
Do you hear that, Maggie?
Do I hear what?
You don't hear the sound of bees buzzing about?
No, I see the result of that buzzing about and these beautiful new beeswax candles.
We sell candles now?
Not just any candles. These are handmade beeswax candles.
Well, that explains me imagining bees.
And they come in different sizes. There's a votive, a 3-day, and a 7-day size too.
Well, that should start a buzz in the store.
It better, or you'll get the buzz.
Order handmade beeswax candles today while supplies last at shop.mikechurch.com. There's only one way to get mine and former NYPD Ralph Sarchi's The Deliver Us from Evil tapes, the Amityville Horror 4-part podcast series. Sign up for my Church Doctrine Daily email newsletter at mikechurch.com/evil.
Now, let's get you back to the reason you woke up early this morning. The Mike Church Show.
This show delivers a healthy dose of conservative, Ozempic, to help you lose the crushing weight of white and MAGA guilt and help make America great again. The Mike Church Show is on the Crusade Radio Network. This portion of the program brought to you by our friends at mypillow.com/King Dude. That's mypillow.com. Now, if you want the $14.85 classic MyPillow, you know, the MyPillow's all the rage, then you need to go to the homepage at mypillow.com, click the radio podcast box at the top of the page, and then on that page you will see $14.85 MyPillow Classic with coupon code. Your coupon code is King Dude, one word, King Dude. Otherwise, to shop for my slippers, my towels, my dish towels, things for my pet. All things made in Minnesota by Minnesotans at Mike Lindell's MyPillow. And go to mypillow.com/King Dude. If you call and order on the phone, when they ask you for the code is King Dude. And that'll tell them that I sent you. All right, 844-527-8723, 844-5-CRUSADE. Where are we here? Okay, we played a little bit of the... Okay, let's continue with the... first of all, if you're in the Crusader Stadium chat room, crusadechannel.com/chat, and welcoming all of you. I guess people are out voting today. I know early voting ended in Louisiana Tuesday. Yeah, Tuesday was the last day. So I don't know how you could, in your state, you could still early vote. Maybe that's where everybody is, because in the chat room this week, we're not making American talk and chat radio great again. Yeah. They didn't call in at all. It's not that they called in uninterested. They didn't check in at all. It's the most amazing thing here. We keep being told this is one of the most important election of our lifetimes, and the most important that you have to get out and vote. Are you doing anything else? Asking for a friend. Any event. You can also chat in our on the YouTube, Crusade Radio Network, and on the Rumble, rumble.com, and on x.com as well. The chat is enabled on X, isn't it? In any event, okay, we were listening to the lies that were told by the shape Kamala Harris last night and the big coming out party, the closing argument. Why would you make this? So I don't understand why you would do this with a week to go. Is this because she actually is that lazy and she just doesn't want to have to, well, like, Mary, this is the last day of my campaign. Let's be clear, Donald Trump has an enemy. I'd like to know how you know that he has a enemy list. You know, I was watching this last night and I go like, well, you didn't say anything about Obama. Obama boasted and bragged that he had a freaking kill list, an assassination list. And he actually killed. As a matter of fact, he killed the 13-year-old son of Anwar al-Awlaki on a drone strike in Yemen. Kid was having a birthday party. So Obama assassination list, good. Trump revenge list, if such a thing does exist. And how did you come across it? Hey, you know, if I were in the press corps and if she did take questions, I would say, how do you know that he has a press list? 1, have you seen it? 2, and number 3, who's on it? How did you come up? Because that would be something that you would keep very close to the vest if you knew what you were doing. So how did you come about it, and who's on it? And by the way, if there is such a list out there, don't you have a duty as a citizen to warn those people? You know, when you start batting around lies like that, those lies ought to have consequences. And someone should ask KJP, Blackety Ann, Corinne Jean-Pierre, somebody should ask Blackety Ann, is it true? Trump has a kill list, and if it does, is that not some kind of a concern for law enforcement? How did you guys get it? Who leaked it out? Who's on it? Play the shape number 2. And then again, they want to make your life better. Okay, she really knows an awful lot about President Trump. It's what you labeled as 11 part 2, right? Okay. Just making sure we're on the same page. Hey, I played your favorite Simple Minds song as a rejoin here. I got no props for playing great 80s music from the Breakfast Club that you actually like. Roll it. Yes, I'm finished. Okay, I'm finished.
America, this is not a candidate for president who is thinking about how to make your life better. This is someone who is unstable, obsessed with revenge, consumed with grievance, and out for unchecked power.
Okay, stop the tape. I got to make an
Trump.
observation here because I work in the business and I have heard this before. This is a result of terrible voice coaching. She was told to make sure to keep some critics at bay by falsely enunciating things in a manner in which she never does them. She never enunciates those words that way, which is why they sound so and falsely. Play it again, Maggie. I will. Now that you've heard the analysis, she was told, make sure, she's probably practiced, they practice this, do it in the mirror, use your words, shape, use your words. She was told to practice this in a mirror and to make sure that she enunciated all the words correctly because they were going to be played back. There's going to be videotape. You might make an ad out of it. The news stations are going to run with it. You have to make sure everyone can understand, and we can't rely on you as a public speaker because you suck. So, we're going to teach you how to say these words with clarity. This is almost like a hooked on phonics lesson in real time. Now, here, listen. Now that I've told you that, listen to it again.
America, this is not a candidate for president who is thinking about how to make your life better. This is someone who is unstable, obsessed with revenge, consumed with grievance, and out for unchecked power. Donald Trump has spent a decade trying to keep the American people divided and afraid of each other. That is who he is. But America, I am here tonight to say that is not who we are.
Hey, that's just too Michelle. Cut the tape. That's just too Michelle Obama over-the-top BS. While Big Mike is yelling at a crowd in Detroit this weekend, screaming at her, if you don't vote for Kamala and your wife gets her ass kicked by a wife beater, that's on you. I'm listening to these closing arguments. They're just terrible. No one's going to be inspired by this. I'll tell you what this was. This is you know what? Since they don't eat red meat, this was to take a freshly minted piece out of a laboratory in Israel, impossible steak, and dangle it out to the abortion-craving lunatic masses that would support someone like her. That was to motivate them. That wasn't aimed at anyone that's not. I asked Meg, what did I ask you this morning? I said, are you listening to this objectively? She said, yes. I said, objectively speaking, does this motivate you to do anything? She goes, go into the other room and shoot myself? Actually, she didn't say that. But what did you say? You said no. You said no. No, it wouldn't inspire me. It wouldn't move me a millimeter here. Let's make the point again. There's a couple things that you got to remember. This is a suppress the vote move. This is get their vote out, get them excited. Yeah, we're going to kill a lot of babies when we get back to the White House. The slaughter begins in earnest. And we're going to stop him from stopping us. But if he does get in there, he's got a kill list. She's laying out how they're going to try and stop him from being inaugurated. This is laying out a case. You can hear Jamie Raskin and shifty melonhead Adam Schiff the day after the election, after Trump is proclaimed a landslide winner. Okay, all right, fine. You won at the polls, fine. You're not getting the presidency because we're going to use the 14th Amendment, as Raskin has said on record, right? We're going to use the 14th Amendment. We're going to say that you're against the Boland Amendment or whatever. You have an assassin list. You have a kill list of American citizens. The Department of Injustice is going to investigate you. We're going to charge you with conspiracy to. We're going to charge you with conspiracy to commit unlikemanship. What's unlikemanship? So I've just made it up. With so this speech was to pave the way for actions that will begin on November the 6th. 14th Amendment, state of Colorado, Supreme Court got it wrong. He's a tyrant, brutal dictator. We can't allow him. It's against our democracy. The Constitution says we have to do something about it. We're not going to certify the vote. We're going to sue, et cetera, et cetera. Folks, they will begin lawfare on November the 6th. When Trump wins Pennsylvania, and he will, when he wins Michigan, and he will, when he wins North Carolina and Georgia, and he will, the lawsuits are going to begin. You thought that the election denial was just for MAGA people? Wait till you see them deny this. And they're not just going to deny it. They're going to deny that the wrong kind of people voted. We don't know. Look, we don't have to enfranchise MAGA wackos. Those people are dangerous. They're a threat to democracy. He must not be allowed to be sit behind the great seal at the President of the United States. Let's go to the Dude Maker hotline, 844-527-8723. Our campaign affairs correspondent and our social media coordinator, Magdalene Rose, is on the Dude Maker hotline. Magdalene, good morning. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I am well. Well, you know what? I just had to suffer through about 3.5 minutes of the shape. So I'm a little bit rattled, but I'll get over it.
Well, I think that one of the things with Kamala Harris right now is that her own campaign is sick of hearing her talk. Maybe that's why she's not on these shows currently.
Wait a minute. She was on something called The Breakfast Club this morning. Was that from today, Maggie?
I don't think it was today.
Okay. All right. Now, the closing argument, is she done?
I think so. I think she's kind of out. And I think it's really peculiar that Joe Biden chose her closing argument time to also just talk to the media and say one of the worst things he could have said. They're really running a campaign very similar in a lot of ways to Hillary Clinton's campaign. They've picked this sort of strange Midwestern father named Tim Walz to be the vice president. They have a deplorables moment. It's seeming very similar.
Yeah, the deplorables moment, did it happen in late October? You know this. I think Biden actually pulled off the only October surprise we're going to get. and look, somebody made the point on Fox and Friends this morning, and I agree with the point. Or maybe it was you, Maggie, that was making the point. No, Maggie made the point. Someone told him to go to that office. Someone opened that laptop up because it wasn't him. Someone typed in the URL, put the password in for you have to do it when we meet on a StreamYard or on a Zoom meeting or whatever. Put the password in and then got him set up so that he could go on air and do that interview, whoever it was that he was talking to. So that someone was probably Lady McBiden is probably, or someone like Lady McBiden. But yeah, that required foresight. That was scheduled. Did they not coordinate schedules, or did the people in the West Wing that actually occupy it go yeah, that's why we scheduled the interview? Because it started almost the moment that she did.
I don't know if it's a lack of coordination. I think there's also people on the Biden team who really hate Kamala Harris. I mean, I don't think we can underplay that. I think they really dislike her. They always disliked her. Jill Biden famously disliked her. It was reported almost in the beginning of their administration. So I think that there is a sort of a sabotage effort. And like you mentioned, people had to go and they had to open the computer. They had to have him on there. They did it. They knew what they were doing. They know he has no idea where he is. And the spin from CNN this morning and last night was really that Joe Biden is stammering and he's stuttering, and that's what he didn't mean garbage. It was an accident. Somehow the stutter excuses his comments. So I think in general, this is the biggest October surprise you're going to get. It just hasn't come from our side, and it really is almost a carbon copy of the deplorables comments.
Yeah, no, so if he garbled garbage out, what was he trying to say? Gestapo?
I don't know. They're saying there's a missing S and all of these things. And you see the look of pity the Trump people are giving the liberal people. I'm loving it. The look of pity they're giving them on the CNN roundtable. They're like, that's not true. Just stop it. You went to Harvard. It's really that kind of thing.
Or as we say in the South here, oh, bless his heart.
Yes, that is really the vibe.
What's the other one, Maggie? I love him to death, but it's either oh, bless his heart or I love Joe to death, but. You know, that's how a Southerner gets. Okay, if you're ever in a conversation with a Southerner, a real Southerner, for all you Yanks, and the Southerner starts off by saying, look, I love this guy, insert name here, but I love this guy to, it only works if you say, I love this guy to death. So anyone that you love to death is always followed by, okay, here it comes, but. And I guess that's what it was with Biden. I think we actually have that soundbite, Maggie. I think it's the one from the CNN roundtable, the one where Scott Jennings, I want to say, digital media. Hang on, Magdalene. Here's what you're talking about. Yeah, digital media file number 2. This is the exact roundtable you're talking about. This is funny here, folks. This is a bunch of leftards that know they were about to lose power. And they're sitting around, they're morose. They look depressed. They're sitting around going like, oh, God, we're screwed. And then all we have to talk about is Biden and his stupid mouth. Watch this.
Say, though, Bakari, he was in his house, the White House. He was in his house doing this. And the reporting is that there are places that he can be useful, but he's not everywhere like you might expect a sitting president to be for his vice president.
I don't know that I would expect this president to be everywhere in this moment. I mean, look, a critical element, any coach will tell you, any CEO will tell you, a critical element of running a team and winning is assessing the strengths and weaknesses of your team members and making sure you allocate them in the right way.
Oh, you mean like Trump
Joe
does?
Biden has never been a big arena speaker. He's never been the most fluid speaker. And by the way, as someone who had a stutter growing up, it's very obvious to me that there's an apostrophe at the end of supporters there. He was referring to the garbage spewed by supporters, not simply the supporters themselves. But Joe Biden has been on the campaign trail. He's best getting ice cream in Maryland like he was today. He's best showing moments of empathy in Arizona like he was last week.
He's best getting ice cream in Maryland. Oh, dude, did you just say that?
Last week as well. You use people where they are best. You put
This is your president. This is your guy.
And you put Joe Biden in front of a bunch of union people doing retail politics.
You could make the argument that they would be fine if Joe Biden wasn't anywhere near a microphone.
This is your guy!
Let me just accept the most charitable framing of this, which you just gave. Why is he sitting in front of a laptop at the exact same moment Kamala Harris is out on his backyard trying to give the closing argument to her campaign? What in the world is he doing? Now, I don't accept your framing of it personally because I actually do believe he, Harris, the Democratic Party, and most of their campaign do believe that half the country is garbage. They've also said people who go to Trump rallies are Nazis. And so it's pretty apparent the disdain with which they hold half of the country in.
It's not true. Oh, this is, Magdalene, this is their guy. They're talking about their guy, their president, their dude. And the best thing that he does is eat ice cream at a Breslers.
Also, this is nonsense. He campaigned with Obama for 8 years doing rallies. What are they talking about? He did hundreds of rallies with Obama and with Democrats down ballot for 8 years. I don't understand what this new thing of he belongs in these boutique moments manufactured by like Instagram influencers. It's ridiculous. He was the go-to bulldog for Barack Obama during the campaigns. What he did to Mitt Romney and Paul Ryan in 2012 was a masterclass in political bullying. What are they talking about? Talk about rewriting history. That's a rewrite of history.
Now, I still remember this. I talked about this on the Mike Church show here. But Magdalene Rose, our campaign affairs correspondent, our Dude Maker hotline with us. Drop your comments into the chat room at crusadechannel.com/chat or in the YouTube chat at youtube.com/@RealKingDude or on x.com. Please follow me at the King Dude. I talked about this many times. Since it happened, and this is in July of 2008, the day after Obama picks Biden as the VP. and they come out of the Chicago residence, and then Biden goes out on the campaign trail. This is the big hoop-de-doo event. I can't remember the arena where it was at, but there were thousands upon thousands of Obama people there. And Biden comes out, and he does what he was picked to do. He calls McCain basically the lowest form of a human being. And it's in the Biden, he sets it up the way Biden does. I've served with McCain in the Senate. John's this, and John's a good guy, but John's no president. And then he spent the next half hour just basically going after and yelling and screaming about what a rotten human being, and he was right, actually, John McCain was, et cetera, et cetera. This is in front of a crowd of thousands. Biden spoke at the arena. They rented Mile High Stadium, for God's sake. For Obama, remember he came out to the pillars, the Roman temple, when he did his acceptance speech in 2008 at Mile High Stadium. He had 100,000 people there. That is, by definition, a stadium. Biden spoke the night before. So, yeah.
He did. And
go ahead.
And even more than that, in the Senate as well, he was a bulldog. That man was vicious. He was not somebody who did a little post about ice cream. He was somebody people were afraid to work with. You're right. The 2008 campaign trail, no one was more vicious than Joe Biden. This rewrite, it's really peculiar because it makes me think that they don't think there's anybody around in politics anymore who remembers Joe Biden pre-sad ice cream boy phase.
Pre-bad ice cream boy day. This is actually embarrassing. I'm actually embarrassed for Biden. I'm embarrassed for for his family, and I have been. I'm embarrassed for the United States because this guy is president. And the best thing that his biggest cheerleaders at the Clinton News Network can say about him is he looks good at a Bresler's 33 flavors, or a Baskin Robbins 33 flavors. I just, it can't be more embarrassing for these people than this. Magdalene, we're out of time. If any news breaks, please call back. If not, we'll talk tomorrow. And as always, give Benna a big kiss and a hug from us, and we'll see you then.
Will do. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. Well, his real utility is in eating ice cream. Dude, did you just say that out loud? Wait, I can't wait for this to get back to Biden. That's what they think of him. He's the good... No, he's not the good humor. He's the bad humor guy. Back in the 1990s, in the heyday of broadcast TV, NBC called its Thursday night lineup must-see TV. Well, that was then, and this is now. And the only must-see TV is the Mike Church Show, simulcast on Crusade TV. You can watch the Dude Cam live feed with the video clips of the day when you become a Super Premium Founders Pass subscriber at crusadechannel.com/go. Sign up today and also get the Crusade Premium audio feed, all my podcasts. Sign up today at crusadechannel.com/go.
Silver and gold.
In these turbulent times, buying silver and gold is such a no-brainer that even snowmen know they should do it. Now, all precious metal dealers claim to be the best, but only one can claim they are endorsed by the King Dude, and that's Miles Franklin. My friend Andy Scheckman's a regular guest on my show and a regular genius when it comes to silver and gold, and I trust him with my silver and gold purchases, and so should you. So email Miles Franklin today for your exclusive Mike Church Show discount price list. info@milesfranklin.com.
Did you know that the rosary began as a tool to give laity a form of common prayer, like what was being prayed in monasteries? And monasteries were praying all 150 psalms from the Bible. But most laity couldn't afford a Bible, and most couldn't read, so they began praying the Our Father 150 times a day. Today, the rosary is prayed by millions, and each one is a work of art. There is no finer maker of this art than Maggie O'Connell and the Little Bayou Rosary. Find her rosary creations today at shop.mikechurch.com.
Did you know that a Make America Great Again cap is now going for $50? Well, listen up. I know where you can get a Make American Talk Radio Great Again cap, the next best thing, for free. Go to crusadechannel.com/offer. Sign up for a 1-year Founders Pass membership that includes all my podcasts, the 24/7 premium live stream, and much more. And the cap is yours for free. We'll even throw in a POTUS 45% discount. There's only 24 free caps available, so you gotta act now. Go to crusadechannel.com/offer. We're
Where do you find gourmet coffee, great barbecue seasonings, and the best must-read books? Answer, the Founders Trading Post store.
Yeah, but how do we get folks to remember we sell so much more?
I got it. Remember the McDonald's jingle?
Two all beef patties, special sauce, lettuce, cheese, pickles, onions, and a sesame seed bun.
All right, Lou and I will buy.
Well, here goes. Rosary, stickers, lapel pins, stuff from bees, t-shirts, ball caps, download CDs, and reading fun.
Thanks. Now Lou and I want a Big Mac.
The Founders Trading Post store really is stocked like a trading post at shop.mychurch.com. Big Mac sold separately.
Come on, Lou. You can finish your order in the car. Let's get a Big Mac.
If you're on a quest to make the perfect steak, then you need the perfect steak seasoning for that. And my Acadiana steak seasoning is the perfect choice because unlike many off-the-shelf rubs, Acadiana is nearly salt-free, so you control the quantity of salt to your taste. For steaks, I like to use a healthy dose of very coarse grind kosher salt, and I heavily season both sides to make a blackened sear. Acadiana is also great on seafood and veggies too. Pick up a bag or 6 today at shop.mike.
Mike Church is about to unload a howitzer-sized barrage of the good, true, and beautiful. Nah, won't do you any good to duck.
I got your picture of me and you. You wrote I love you. I wrote me too. I see the stare at it, there's nothing else to do. Oh, it's in color. Your hair is brown. Your eyes are hazel, and soft as clouds. I often kiss you when there's no one else around. I got your picture, I'd like a million of your.
Making American talk radio great again because I was raised in a middle-class family. I have ambitions and aspirations. And I seek an opportunity economy radio market. The Mike Church Show is on the Crusade Radio Network. Hey, we got a winner yesterday. I can't give anyone the prize for YouTube.com at Real King Dude for becoming subscriber number 1,500. Actually, I tried. I gave 2 names out yesterday, and I heard from neither one of them. So we're just going to press on to subscriber number 1,500. And well, you know what? I'm just going to leave it a mystery here. But I am going to give another one out. And I'm going to pick someone who actually looks like they're active on YouTube and that we may actually be able to find them to send you a Make American Talk Radio Great Again, Mike Church Show embroidered baseball cap, and a box full of Crusade Radio Network swag. But this is an interesting story. This is just how this has happened. So on Twada, we finally got to 20,200 subscribers. It took like 3 months to get 100. So yeah, Elon, your algorithm sucks. And it is still shadow banning people like me. And by the way, YouTube will allow you to get to a certain place when you're someone like us, and then they cap you. And I can show you the statistics from the Madison or the MAGA Square Garden broadcast, and you could see it plain as day. You go like, well, how could it go from there to here and then just plateau? Because the algorithm, basically the suppression mechanism kicked in. Went, don't let him get any more popular than that, dude. So a woman named Ginger Rain is follower on Twitter, number 20,200. Thanks to Ginger. And so I sent Ginger a DM, a direct message on Twitter, said, hey, congratulations, or condolences, depending on whose side you're on. Send me your address and I'll get your care package out with your box full of swag. And thank you for following me. She writes back and she goes, you know, King Dude, I'm not trusting X with my deets and all that. I don't want to put my address in here. So I said, okay, well, send me an email. Here's my email address. And then, by the way, you know, the show is still on. We never stopped. This is the greatest assassination of radio character in world history. I'd like to know who is responsible for the vicious rumor, which apparently turned into fact for many people, that the Mike Church Show came to an end on October the 28th, 2015. And when the last broadcast was heard on the Sirius XM Patriot channel, that we just quit and went away. So Robin writes me back, and I give her where she can listen at, and then she writes me back. She goes, I'm watching right now. So happy to have found you again. I learned so much from you way back then, and I miss those songs. So I'll go send that email now. Thanks, TKD. I don't know which song she's talking about, but I thought it might be good since we haven't. What? Yeah, the old Mike Church Show van. I don't know what song in particular that she's talking about. But I do have one that I think is appropriate for today. So I haven't played it in a while. So why don't we just all bash Hillary for a moment or two and relive the magic of You're So Vain from the Mike Church Show band.
Into our party like you walked into Little Rock.
It's still so good today.
Your view strategically hid from right-wing eyes and others you like to mock.
How did Scooby-Doo get in the band?
Had one eye on your hubby as that intern's world he rocked. Then all the dykes dreamed that they'd be your partner. They'd be your partner, and you're so vain. You probably think you should be President Hillary. I'll bet you think this USA needs you. Wants you, don't you? Well, you scammed us several years ago when we were still quite naive. When you said that you'd make such a great senator and that you would never leave. Well, you voted for war in Iraq, pissed off your liberties. They had some dreams you'd be friends
To the commies, make more welfare mommies.
You're so
I love it. I love it, chicken.
You probably think you should be President
Trump loves this, so bet you.
Hillary. I'll bet you think this USA needs you, wants you, don't you?
With government-run health care. Just roll over everybody.
Now, for those of you that don't know, we made our own parody songs for 28 years. And the only reason we're not still making parody songs is the band broke up. We lost our guitarist and one of our vocalists, and the only surviving member is just too busy to make songs anymore. Because I keep writing them, they just don't record them.
It's not a dream, we know you are a
But now we have AI.
welfare mommies, 'cause
Might be able to make them again.
so vain. You probably think you should be President Hillary. I'll bet you think this USA needs you, wants you, don't you? Well, I heard you campaigned up in cold Iowa. Straw polls you naturally won. Then you flew your Learjet up to Nova Scotia to whine about the global warming sun. You're campaigning all the time, and when you're not, you sniff Bill's undies for sense of a wife of a close friend, wife of a close friend, and you're so vain. You probably think you should be President Hillary. I'll bet you think
All right, you get the idea. There's 70 of those things. And you know what the amazing thing about the lyrics to all those? They still apply. There's not a single one of those songs that we recorded from 2003 to 2015 that don't still play well today. All of them. I used the Job song. I used the Smoking SUV, the Al Gore's Fire. They all still play well. Maybe we'll get the band back together and give it the old college go. This portion of the program brought to you by the Founders Pass membership service. So, you've heard all this good stuff here. Would you like access to 2,000 of my shows as podcasts? You could get it. Would you like access to great series like the Deliver Us from Evil tapes? A 4-part series on the Amityville Horror. You can get it. How about the 3-part series on the Irish potato famine from Junkmon Greg Carpenter? You can get it. What about the 3-part series on TWA Flight 800 that Greg did? What really happened? All available to Founders Pass members, and we're going to start cranking out a lot more coming up very soon. And it'll only be available to members. So why not join us? You have all these other memberships for all these clowns out there that don't put near the work, love, heart, sweat, and tears into things that we do here on the Crusade Radio Network and the Mike Church Show. You can join for 30 days, give the service a try. Don't cost nothing. That'll give you access to the chat room, which you're going to want for election night. You are going to want to be in the troll-free chat room, the greatest chat room on earth, at crusadechannel.com/chat on election night for our historic coverage. And all day for that matter. So go sign up today. What are you waiting for, you people? An invitation? Well, here you go. It's free. You don't even have to put a credit card up. Name and email address. crusadechannel.com/offer. crusadechannel.com/offer. If you can't remember that, send me an email and I will send you the link personally. crusadechannel.com/offer. Play digital media file number 3. While we're reminiscing about what happened at SiriusXM, and this clown on Twitter telling me, I quit, I stopped listening to you because you became a religious fanatic. Because I opposed abortion and I talked about philosophy and philosophia perennis. That's a okay, got it. This guy was talking about, you deserve to get kicked off SiriusXM, you religious fanatic wacko. I'm like, wow, dude, that's really rich. And then after I sent one response and I got it back, basically the guy's cursing me for being a Catholic. You know, anti-Catholic bigotry is alive and well in the United States. Let me tell you. And Trump even said this last night. He said this, he said it again. Something's going on with this man. He said it again. And I don't know what's going on. Why are they picking on the Catholics? Why the Catholics? It's they're after the Catholics. What did the Catholics? He is making it known to people that are listening to him that he likes Catholics. And he thinks that they need to be defended from people like Biden. He is making that known. Now, we're not going to agree with him on IVF and all of the other stuff. Folks, we got to be the loyal opposition. As soon as the election is over, we got to be the ones to remind them, you were pro-life, you got road done, don't go here. Literally, don't go backwards. The way forward, life. You know, Elon will tell him this. Elon has 11 children now. Did you know that? I would normally not do this, but I'm glad that Steve's out of jail. They railroaded him, literally. He is a Nelson Mandela. He was a political prisoner. I like the fact that he tells Nancy Pelosi, hey, Nancy, hey, guess what? He doesn't say Winebox. I wish he would have. Hey, Winebox, guess what? You didn't break me. All you did was make me more committed. By the way, the guy that attacked the wacko homo dude that attacked the wacko homo who plays Nancy Pelosi's husband, Paul, that guy got sentenced to life with no chance of parole. You can have Kamala D.A. Harris furlough you out on a murder rap. You can go and kill someone else and be convicted in California, and you will be out on the streets in 10 to 12 years. But if you attack the ice cream fortune that's hidden in a freezer at Pelosi's compound, you go to jail for a life, baby. No chance for parole. So in any event, Steve Bannon got out of jail yesterday. Glad to see that Steve's out of jail. Steve, wish you well, of course. I don't hold grudges. You know what? Because I've seen what they do to people. Grudges suck. And the people that hold them suck even worse. Here's Steve Bannon.
I can tell you, in coming from and being a political prisoner in a federal prison, that the young men in this country that are African American and Hispanic detest Kamala Harris. They detest her. We're going to go into details today and at the press conference of why that's up. But we have a chance to move past race on November 5th. Everything we have fought for so many years is all coming to fruition, and we have to have a convergence. And my fear is that some people, I think, are trying to lean on the shovel and say, look at the polls, these polls, and Trump always under polls, and he does this, so Trump's up 3, 4, 5. Hey, maybe that's the case, but that's theoretical right now. Reality is the electorate we bring on November 5th, and that gets back to you. That gets out to get the vote. Look, Elon Musk is one of the smartest guys in the world, right? If not the smartest practical engineer in the world. Charlie Kirk is incredibly smart. Look where they've put their efforts over the last couple of months. Look where Elon Musk wrote $150 million worth of checks the last couple of months. It is flat out, get out the vote. And that's where this audience comes in. Your efforts have been magnificent. The co-hosts that have done this.
All right, you get the idea. Let me agree with a couple of things here. And the Trump campaign should do this. Every appearance is, we're down. I think we're actually down 10, maybe 8. We got to make a big gap up. Kamala's got the cheat in. Do not ever say that we're up. Say that we're down. Say, look, you need your people to. I'm going to tell you, Maggie and I are going, as soon as this show is concluded, on the morning of November the 5th, we're going right down the street. It's 5 miles from here to where my little junior high school is, my little polling station. I'll have my ID in my hand, and I'll probably have to stand in line for 2 hours, but I'm happy to do it. Because I'm going to go vote the old-fashioned way, and I'm going to be recorded that day. But if I had to stand in line all day, I'm going to go do it. And I don't need Trump to motivate me. I don't need anyone to motivate me. I'm just going to go do it because I think it's my duty to take part in the electoral process while we have this system, and I'm in it. I choose not to make defeat guaranteed as far as my participation goes. This is the message that you got to get out there. And I hope that this is what they hammer home. And just keep hammering it. No. She's up 8, maybe 10 in Pennsylvania. Everyone that you thought was going to the poll, they didn't show up. So you need to go out and find 2 more. That's the message. That's the message. So he's right about that. Well, but this is a really good portion of the program. Now, wait a minute. Let me clarify this. You're going to, tomorrow night for Halloween, you're going to put a hefty trash bag on and a MAGA hat. And you're going to hand candy out. Well, I think in this neighborhood, people will get it and will laugh and will be applauded. You know what? You should, when you put the trash bag on, you should find a tattered piece of rope as your belt. You know, kind of Ellie Mae Clampett kind of. You want it to be an ensemble, and then you need to have a I voted little sticker that looks like it came out of the trash. You know, smear some spaghetti sauce on it. Okay, well, I'm going to do my trash bag the way I want to do my trash bag. Dang it! To that end. The One Overlooked Reasons Christians Should Vote in 2024 by Mark Anderson at American Thinker, but extrapolate that out to the church. One of the penalties of Christians refusing to participate in politics is that you end up being governed by atheists. Christians in particular, but voters in general, fail to remember that elections mean that you are giving someone else legal authority over your life. That includes your family, your business, and even your church. You know, I looked this up. Do you know what the suffrage rate was in any congressional election all the way up until they started messing around with the suffrage, with the congressional apportionment? Now you got to remember, this is before the 19th Amendment, before the suffrage amendment for blacks, and before 18-year-olds could vote. You know what the rate was of participation in American federal congressional elections? It was somewhere north of 85%. So in other words, and it was all day of, by the way. So when you might have been like out tending to the field, maybe you were out of town, maybe you were sick, because you would vote basically head of household. So the husband would vote. 85% was like a low year. So that meant that at one point in time, the American Schursons out here actually believed and then carried through with that they did have a voice, an active voice in their own government, and they went to the polls like it meant something, because to them it did. It's sad that we have, and again, I see the enemy at work here. I didn't before, but I see it now. The enemy at work here, working on so many good people and telling them, don't participate. It doesn't matter. You suck. They don't care about you. They're going to disenfranchise your stupid vote anyway. No victory is ever guaranteed. The answer to that argument is no victory at anything that's worth working for, that you have to compete for, is ever assured. Tom Brady never went into any Super Bowl guaranteed a Super Bowl ring. He had the chance to earn one. He never went into a Super Bowl guaranteed that he was going to win, even when the odds were against him, like in the first one. Maybe he shouldn't have showed up. Maybe he should have told Belichick, we're going to get beat anyway, dude. Aren't you reading? These guys are better than us. The whole thing's rigged. And you can apply this to almost anything. You are not, when you go to open a business and own the means of production and then true ownership, you're not guaranteed to succeed. 85% of all small businesses fail in the first 2 years. But if you don't try, and if you don't attempt to open that business, you're guaranteed that either you're going to be a scofflaw, a hobo, or you're going to be a welfare ward of the state. So you're guaranteed defeat then. Which is not to say that if you don't open a business that you're defeated. Somebody's going to take that argument and go, meh, 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 meh. And then he says, and he goes on to just say the Biden-Harris regime started its rule by using COVID as the excuse to shut businesses and churches and use social media to shut up anyone who disagreed with their mandates or questioned their science. That was how they started. Throughout their administration, they used the FBI and the DOJ to spy on school board meetings and arrest Christians, mostly Catholics, who didn't like woke teachers pushing pornography and transgenderism on their children. By the end, they went even further. Just months ago, they rewrote Title IX to remove protections for women and girls in favor of biological males. Now, again, you could say right here, well, we're beaten. The girls are having to play against the boys. The Biden regime has ruled. There's no sense in opposing it. Now, I have to ask the question, what father or uncle or grandparent or brother that truly loves the child, the girl, the young woman who's an athlete is going to concede the point and accept defeat, knowing the game is freaking rigged? At this juncture in time, the game is rigged. Your daughter is going to compete against a volleyball player who's a guy and who might smash one in her face and break her nose. For you to do nothing is guaranteed you're going to lose, and men are going to take over women's sports. Until there's so many men playing them, then it becomes competitive because there's so many guys competing for the women's gold medal. The way to guarantee that they win is to drop out today. Don't participate, throw your hands up, wring your hands, and then throw them up in the air in the surrender position and say they win. There's nothing I can do about it. I have one solitary, stupid voice that no one's going to listen to. That's just, there's no victory. People tell me it's a noble stand. Dude, I'm not going to question your nobility. I'm not questioning your honor or your dignity or anything. Just talking practically speaking. If everyone that thinks like you didn't think like you, what percentage of the population is that? Just one example, Trump lost Georgia by 10,824 votes. What percentage of those, if it was legitimate, and it wasn't, what percentage of that could have been wiped away by people that didn't quit? How many gun owners? You know that gun owners turn out less than 40% to vote for their own, to secure their own Second Amendment right? Not that they should have to do it. Don't misunderstand. This is the situation, though, and this is the deck of cards we are dealt with. How many Christian turnout is less than 50% in any given election? What if 100% and they were all pro-life showed up? How could Amendment 4 get passed in Florida? It couldn't. One gives up, they all give up. Don't give up.
Just when you thought it was safe to turn the radio on, Turley's Believe It or Else has escaped back to the radio. You have been warned. Weekdays at 10 a.m. Central on the Crusade Radio Network. Live talk radio the way it should be.
The Crusade Channel On Demand presents the Deliver Us From Evil tapes, the series featuring former NYPD Sergeant Ralph Sarchi.
Normally, I don't get really scared when I go into this environment, but I had a range of every emotion while I was there. Fear, sadness. This case was really a very emotional case.
The Deliver Us From Evil tapes, the series featuring Ralph Sarchi. Real-life stories of the battle against the underworld, demons, and the people they prowl the world looking to ruin. Exclusively on the Crusade Channel. Listen or download the Deliver Us From Evil tapes, Piercing Truth, the Mike Church Show compilations, Mike's feature recordings, and hundreds of other titles in the Crusade Channel On Demand store at crusadechannel.com.
At the start of the American Revolution, the Founding Fathers had to answer the question of what kind of government they wanted to live under. Today's patriots are asking the same question, and many think that Confederation needs to be rethought for the 21st century. Now, Ben Franklin helped the Patriots' cause with his Join or Die drawing. Well, I've taken that drawing and changed it to Secede or Die and put it beautifully on t-shirts and sweats. Grab a Secede or Die shirt in any size today at shop.mikechurch.com.
You're listening to the Crusade Channel, a Black Hat Studios media property, broadcasting live 24/7 from Madisonville, Louisiana, and to the world via crusadechannel.com.
Crusade Channel News. News you can trust, because the truth can be trusted. From the Crusade Channel News Desk, here's Janet Huxley.
Good morning, Crusaders. Welcome to Wednesday, October the 30th, 2024. I'm Janet Huxley, reporting for the Crusade Radio Network News Desk, live from the Dothan Farm and Ranch, south of Kansas City, Missouri. This report is brought to you by Miles Franklin Precious Metals. With over $10 billion in sales and over 3 decades of experience, Miles Franklin will handle all your precious metal needs. For the Mike Church Show special price list, email them info@milesfranklin.com. Here's what to listen for this hour. Pentagon says North Korean troops heading to Russia's embattled Kursk region. With 1 week until Election Day, candidates make closing arguments. SCOTUS denies RFK Jr. effort to remove name from Michigan and Wisconsin ballots, and Vance to appear on Joe Rogan Experience podcast. North Korean forces have been dispatched to Russia's embattled Kursk region, according to the latest public U.S. military assessments. So far, the U.S. military assesses that there are around 10,000 North Korean troops in Russia. Speaking at an October 29th press briefing, Pentagon Press Secretary and U.S. Air Force Major General Pat Ryder said a portion of these North Korean forces have already moved closer to Ukraine, towards Russia's Kursk Oblast near the border with Ukraine. With 1 week to go before Election Day, the race between Kamala and President Donald Trump remains locked in a dead heat, if you believe the polls. Both Trump and Harris are tied supposedly at 48% in national polls, according to Real Clear Politics polling average. This week, both candidates will make their final arguments with multiple stops in critical swing states that will most likely determine the presidential race. While recent polls suggest a close race, Harris's upward momentum seems to have stalled, with battleground state poll averages trending, of course, in Trump's favor. Over the weekend, both campaigns ramped up in their efforts to mobilize supporters and ensure voter turnout. The U.S. Supreme Court has denied separate appeals by Robert F. Kennedy Jr. to remove his name from the ballots in Wisconsin and Michigan, a move supported by President Trump. The long-shot independent presidential candidate has been trying to get his name off ballots in key battleground states since he suspended his campaign in August and endorsed Trump. When he suspended his campaign, Kennedy said he planned to keep his name on the ballot in safe Democratic and Republican states, but didn't want it to be a spoiler in battleground states. Our quote of the day: "It is simply impossible to lead without the aid of prayer, a virtuous life." St. John Chrysostom. And coming up, our saint of the day. You're listening to Crusade Radio Network News.
Where do you find gourmet coffee, great barbecue seasonings, and the best must-read books? Answer: the Founders Trading Post store.
Yeah, but how do we get folks to remember we sell so much more?
I got it. Remember the McDonald's jingle?
2 all beef patties, special sauce, lettuce, cheese, pickles, onions, and a sesame seed bun.
All right, Lou and I will buy.
Well, here goes. Rosary stickers, lapel pins, stuff from bees, t-shirts, ball caps, download CDs, and reading fun.
Thanks. Now Lou and I want a Big Mac.
The Founders Trading Post store really is stocked like a trading post at shop.mychurch.com. Big Mac sold separately.
Come on, Lou. You can finish your order in the car. Let's get a Big Mac.
There's only one way to get mine and former NYPD Ralph Sarchi's The Deliver Us from Evil tapes, the Amityville Horror 4-part podcast series. Sign up for my Church Doctrine Daily email newsletter at mikechurch.com/evil.
Our saint of the day is Saint Alphonsus Rodriguez. Tragedy and challenge beset today's saint early in life, but Alphonsus Rodriguez found happiness and contentment through simple service and prayer. He was born in Spain in 1533 and inherited the family textile business at the age of 23. Within the space of 3 years, his wife, daughter, and mother died, and the business was poor. He stepped back and reassessed his life, sold the business, and with his young son, moved into his sister's home. There he learned the discipline of prayer and meditation. At the death of his son years later, Alphonsus, almost 40 by then, sought to join the Jesuits. He was not helped by his poor education and applied twice before being admitted. For 45 years, he served as doorkeeper at the Jesuits' College in Majorca. When not at his post, he was almost always at prayer, although he often encountered difficulties and temptations. His holiness and prayerfulness attracted many to him, including St. Peter Claver, then a Jesuit seminarian. Alphonsus's life as a doorkeeper may have been humdrum, but centuries later he caught the attention of a poet and fellow Jesuit, Gerard Manley Hopkins, who made him the subject of one of his poems. Alphonsus died in 1617. He is the patron saint of Majorca. Senator J.D. Vance will appear on the Joe Rogan Experience soon, according to a spokesman for President Donald Trump's running mate. Today, Vance will head to Austin, Texas to tape an episode of the podcast with Joe Rogan, a spokesman told the Epoch Times. The appearance will occur within days of Trump's 3-hour interview on the popular program. According to YouTube metrics collected yesterday, the episode featuring Trump had more than 38 million views in less than a week. You're listening to Crusade Channel News. I'm Janet Huxley for the Crusade Radio Network, seeking news and finding truth.
Fire and Ice Middays are here. Get animated by the fire of Parrot Talk and the ice-cold chill-out of Turley's Believe It or Else and Fiorella Middays show. The Fire and Ice Midday block begins at 10 Central on the Crusade Radio Network. Live talk radio the way it should be.
In the era of the Biden regime, the Mike Church Show lives by the creed, if at first you don't succeed, try again. And if that doesn't work, move to Grenada.
You were working as a waitress in a cocktail bar when I met you. I picked you out, I shook you up and turned you around, turned you into someone new. Now 5 years later on, you've got the world at your feet. Success has been so
see me, don't you want me? Performing this show with half of my testosterone tied behind my back just to make it fair. An oasis of toxic masculinity and common Christian sense. In a sea of single, angry, ugly cat ladies. This is the one and only Mike Church Show on the Crusade Radio Network. At 844-527-8723. If you're listening on the YouTube channel and you have not subscribed to the channel, you must go and do so today. It is the only way that we have, and we've done this organically since the beginning, to grow the Crusade Radio Network and especially our presence on the YouTube, which is growing every day. Every day it grows a little bit. There's nothing viral that's going on there. It's all organic. You know, we post videos pretty much every day, and a repost some portion of this program as a afternoon premiere, basically. So if you miss part of the show, don't worry about it. You can catch it. Scared myself. You know, I forget what this stupid mic stand is here. You can catch that part on the YouTube as a premiere that afternoon. But guys, subscribe to the channel so you're notified, especially when we do live events, which is pretty much every day, even outside of this show. No one else in the business. There's not a single, not Turning Point. None of them are doing what we do here on the Crusade Radio Network and on the Mike Church Show for our listeners and our viewers. So why don't you support us? Subscribe to the channel. If you're on Rumble, do the same thing. On X, follow us at The King Dude and at Veritas Radio Net. And then for extra credit, become a Founders Pass member at crusadechannel.com/offer. That's crusadechannel.com/offer. So, I'm going to ask Maggie to pick me out a championship caller or chatter of the day on YouTube. And I don't care what subscriber number you are, because I just want to give something away. I'm going to give the Make American Talk Radio Great Again baseball cap and Crusade Radio Network Mike Church Show swag box away to you today. Now, we're going to pick a number somewhere in the next couple of days of a subscriber, a new subscriber, and do the same thing. But for today, I'm just going to leave it up to Maggie. Or you guys in the chat room and in the YouTube chat can vote yourself. Why should you be the one that gets the swag pack today? So that means you have to be in the chat on the YouTube. So find us youtube.com at Real King Dude. I want to play the Tony Dungy bit. There's a big hoop-de-doo election that's going to happen in Florida. Amendment 4 will cost the life of tens of thousands of future citizens of Florida every year. It must not pass. It must be defeated. I think it will be. You may remember that Coach Dundee was coach of the Indianapolis Colts, the Indianapolis football Colts. And I want to say that he's responsible, or at least partly responsible, for drafting Peyton Manning, and that he won a Super Bowl with Peyton Manning. What most people don't know is that Coach Dundee is just a fire-breathing pro-lifer and has adopted children. Do you have it? Coach Dundee, that's digital media file number 9. On Amendment 4 in Florida. This is really good. So for those of you that are maybe on the fence, I'm not voting in Florida, it's not going to matter anyway. Thousands upon thousands, which will add up to hundreds of thousands of children, future citizens of Florida, are relying on you to go and vote no.
I am so upset when people say, oh, we need to get this passed because women in Florida are in danger when they're pregnant. No, they're not in danger when they're pregnant. Okay. We have health care. We have some of the best health care in the world here, and it's available. Okay. And it's not going to be withheld if this amendment doesn't pass. So that's important. But even more important to me and my family, it's personal, because I happen to believe that these babies in the womb are lives. And I know everybody doesn't believe that, but I happen to believe it. My Bible tells me that they are. And I know everybody doesn't believe that.
By the way, he's got women in white lab coats standing
But
behind
for me,
him,
that's
too.
what's important.
Clapping.
My wife, Lauren, and I have 8 adopted children in our home right now. And when I go home every day and I look at those kids, I don't see 8 choices. I'm sorry. Those are 8 lives. And yes, we need to protect our women. Yes, we need to protect our mothers. But we need to protect those children as well.
Hey, good one, Coach Dundee. That's a guy that's using what God has blessed him with properly. He is on the right side of that question, and he's not afraid, doesn't fear what they can do to him when he comes out and says, I don't see choices, I see children. He's standing there, and if you're not watching the video, if you're listening to this on radio, Governor DeSantis is standing right next to him. There is a coterie of women in white lab coats who apparently are obstetricians or maybe obstetric nurses and what have you there. Kind of the opposite, the counterbalance to the rabid desire to murder children that you saw in Houston, Texas, when The Shape took the stage with Beyonce last Friday. By the way, it is well known that Beyonce and Jay-Z are 33rd degree Masons. I don't say that to gin up the conspiracy theory and conspiracy talk. I didn't even know it. Somebody sent me the video and I went, holy crap. There's a video on YouTube. And it is of Jay-Z going into the Masonic room. Find it for yourself. I saw it years ago. Going into the room in the robe, with the hood, with all of the Masons there, to go do the secret initiation rite that elevates you to the highest elite status. Who was cracking the joke about P. Diddy? You know what? You should play, if you could find that YouTube video that Justin found, where from Supernatural, from season 6, episode 8, I think it is, when they talk about P. Diddy and the Virgins. It's hysterical here. Hollywood knows now. I mean, the gig is up and it's out that Diddy was leading the pedo sex rings. This was the deal that he cut at the crossroads. He may not have gone into it as one of them, but he sure as hell is one of them now. And I would not be surprised whatsoever to find out that he was Epstein while he was in jail awaiting trial, because he knows where as they say, he knows where the bodies are. Quickly, to Don from the Bronx in Florida, in the Crusader Stadium chat room. Don, thanks for putting this out. Talking about what's happening in the state of Wisconsin. Turning Point Action data update from this morning. In Wisconsin, modeled Republicans are leading model Democrats by 156,000 returns. 100, to be exact, it's 156,102 returns. Now, what does this mean? This is a comparison of how many people that are registered to vote as a Democrat or as a Republican have actually early voted. So this is all that is a metric of. It's not a count of how many votes, it's what the difference is. So in Waukesha County, it's plus 56,000 and change. Washington County plus 21,000. Brown County plus 14,000. Ozaukee County is plus 12, approximately, I'm going to round up like Maggie does, that's 12,000. Outagamie, plus 11,000. St. Croix, plus 6,200. Sheboygan, 6,000. And Walworth, 5,800 or so. This story is being repeated in every swing state. It's the same thing that's happening in Pennsylvania. The numbers are just larger. It's happening by larger margins, actually, in North Carolina. It's the same thing that's happening in Georgia. Same thing that's happening in Pennsylvania. This is what has the Democrats absolutely mortified because they know they're going to lose. They know that that they don't have their turnout. They know that they lost the registration battle, and now they're going to lose the enthusiasm gap. Because I looked at Trump's schedule today. He has events scheduled through Friday evening. And I would imagine that in the next 2 days, they will determine where he is needed most on Saturday, on Sunday, and on Monday. My bet is that they'll close out somewhere in Pennsylvania on Monday and then fly back to Mar-a-Lago to go vote and do the returns. There'll be a big election party on Tuesday. Remember to set your calendars. Here on the Crusade Radio Network, we will not miss a single nanosecond of Tuesday, November the 5th. We'll be on air live pretty much all day long and all evening long when the returns start to come in. I've already, Mike Parrott is committed, Richard Barrett is committed, Macklin Rose is committed, Don from the Bronx is committed, Patrick Howley is committed. He will join us as a special correspondent. I got invites out to several other people, George Webb among them. So we are going to have a packed house in here, and all of you on Tuesday, November the 5th. So this is your source. This is where you can come hang out with us all day long. We will bring you all the returns, TV, televised, and otherwise. Play digital media found number 10. Now, while we are floating pieces of garbage, according to Biden, and I really do believe that was not a slip. He meant that. He tried to walk it back. Dude, you said it. You wouldn't let Trump walk something like that back, so screw you. You meant it. You said it. This is funny. Zoraida Buzo, who is a Puerto Rican politician serving as a shadow United States senator, shows up at a Trump rally last night as a citizen of Trash Island, Puerto Rico, to say this.
President, and we have some unfinished business to do with respect to Puerto Rico. And if there is a leader that can get us to a final resolution, that is you. That is you. So the people of Puerto Rico trust you, and we have high hopes. As many Americans, we need this man back in the White House. We need this man to be our commander-in-chief. He will make us feel safe, and he will protect us. Thank you very much.
But wait a minute, you're from Trash Island. You're not supposed to, but media, but Kamala, but Democrat, but CNN, but Nazis. All the momentum is in this way. No, I should be pointing to my right. All the momentum is that way. Is that a coincidence? 844-527-8723, our call and line telephone number, 844-5-CRUSADE. Just sending a text message confirmation. You can see me typing right here. George Webb will join us next segment. He's got a lot going on here, and he was heavily involved in 2020. I was reading his post this morning, like, God, dude, is there anything you're not involved in? He was heavily involved in 2016. So we'll get to George Webb, Real George Webb 1's take on all of this. Let's talk about Catherine Harris for a moment here and citizen journalists. Some of you are probably wondering, you're not going to talk about Tucker Carlson and Benny Johnson, and you're not going to talk about little Ben Shapiro and the New York Times going after. This is to be fully expected. This is desperation times. I would imagine that Tucker Carlson has enough millions of dollars stashed away and enough on his phone, numbers of lawyers, that he could just make a phone call and go, hey, this is what this ass clown with the New York Times just sent me. I want to serve them notice if they slander me or libel me in their paper in any way, shape, or form, there will be a lawsuit and I will reclaim my damages. That's what I would imagine happened, because I didn't see that the story has actually been released. But if you're wondering, the story is this. Supposedly, these organs of right-wing opposition are out there sowing the seeds of misinformation. They are telling people that their passions were well placed because they thought that 2020 was stolen. I am allowed to think that the 2020 election was stolen. If Hillary can still run around and think that 2016 was stolen, then I can run around and think that 2020 was stolen. And I don't have to explain to anyone. I don't have to offer an explanation. I don't have to prove it. I'm allowed to think it. I'm allowed to even have an opinion on it. And you know what? I'm also allowed to be wrong, though. I'm not allowed to libel or slander anyone as a result of it, but I am allowed to be wrong. This idea here that, did you get that fact checked? I am sick of you freaking fact checkers. I'm also sick of a media that is at such a low ebb of integrity and dignity and respect that people just assume that everything that they say is a lie. All right. This just in, Carrie Urban is talking about this on Fox News. I think that this is just unbelievably stupid. Supreme Court has rejected RFK Jr.'s bid to have his name removed from the ballot. How can you tell someone that they have to be on a ballot? How does that even work?
About this same case, specifically in Michigan, he even gave the page number so people would know exactly where he stood on this. And one of the things that's referenced in that decision is that the Secretary of State there in Michigan did unilaterally change the rules. And this is something RFK Jr. has been arguing. He said, look, I did file in time to get my name off the ballot. And then that Secretary of State turned around and unilaterally changed the rules. And how is that fair? So it's a complicated situation. Not surprised the Supreme Court didn't get involved, although I think it's a little disappointing.
Okay, and then take us to Virginia. The Supreme Court could rule today on this story we've been covering about the purging of voter rolls, which the governor, Youngkin, says is on the books. This is allowed. And the Attorney General of Virginia was on Fox and Friends first this morning. Watch.
They basically ordered Virginia to ignore our own law and put roughly 1,500 non-citizens back on our voter rolls. We've had a law that's been on the books since 2006, signed by then Governor Tim Kaine, a Democrat, to remove non-citizens. In fact, the Department of Justice is trying to do this 25 days before an election. Is just, indeed, it is injecting chaos into something we don't need right now.
I want to jump in on all this. Now, I thought these people were not divisive. I thought that they would not weaponize and use government against their political enemies, which the Shape spent 30 minutes last night accusing Trump of doing. He's not even in office. Oh, he's now moved it forward, by the way. There is a bit of a, what is the, Dr. Torres and a couple of old guys like me will get this. And then Torres is going to go, I'm not that old, take ID. Whatever, dude. You're old enough. In the Shape speech last night, there was some Oedipus complex. How many of you know what the Oedipus? Yeah, I know it's supposed to apply to men, but it was the Oedipus complex. And she is overtaken with grief, and she basically projected that she's going to lose. If you listen to that speech, there's nothing about victory in there. There's nothing about glory. There is nothing about rising tides, lifting all boats. There's nothing about, and this on day one, in the first 5 minutes, I'm going to do this instead of this gibberish about carrying a to-do list in there when Trump has a kill list and all this. This was Oedipus. She was basically saying, I don't deserve this and I'm not going to win. But let me lay the case out of how we're going to deny him inauguration and then I'm going to be crowned. Now, again, this is where people sitting at home and going like, I'm not participating. You're not going to get me involved in your stupid, illegal, illegitimate, demonic scheme. I'm not voting with the Masons. Will you shop at the same store the Masons shop at? Asking for a friend. Do you travel by air? Do you ask the airline to make sure there were no Masons on the plane that you're on? Asking for a friend. You're just trying to put this line of reasoning into context here. When you mail order things from a company, did you look and make sure that every employee there is free of the taint of being a Mason? Asking for a friend. So deciding, just a great way to get out of it. Just demonize something. But what happens if a member of Congress, if a race comes down, and it actually literally did recently here, and a race comes down to where it is decided by like a dozen votes. It was Kevin Costner was in a movie. What was it called? The White House came down to one vote. It was him. And he had an absentee ballot or so. I never saw the movie, but I know it came down to one vote. And he actually decided who became president. What was the name of the... Congressional races can come down. What if 12 of you sit out and a Democrat wins the House? And then that gives them the 217 majority. And then the first thing that they're going to do is say that we're not going to certify. They're going to cite the 14th Amendment. We're not certifying. We're not going to allow the certification of Trump because of the 14th Amendment, Article 3, to go forward. So we're not having the certification. We're going to have the vote for president because we're going to say he's not qualified under the 14th Amendment. And we're going to have the vote for president in the House of Representatives. It's going to happen by state. But we're going to violate that part of the Constitution, and we're going to say that it's going to be by bare majority. Now, you should fully expect that if this were to happen, that they would absolutely do this. They would. Do we have enough time before George comes on? You can play digital media file number 7. So when it comes down to it then, and I'm looking at the numbers that Don from the Bronx had put in Florida, Turning Point Action Data Update. This is in Arizona. Republicans, again, this is the model of how many are registered to vote by party and how many have actually turned ballots in thus far, early voted. Republicans right now in Arizona have a 120,558 return ballot lead. Now, this is assuming a couple of things. One, that all people that are Republican ballots are Trump's or are Carrie Lake's, for example, and that all people that are Democrat ballots are the Shapes. I'm not convinced that the Shape has closed the argument with old school Democrats. As a matter of fact, I would be pretty convinced that the Shape has lost the argument to most old school Democrats. The only Democrat constituent she's not going to hold the men. The only constituent she's going to hold is the single, angry, ugly cat lady. I want to kill my child, and I want to do it with impunity, and I want the world to praise me for it. That's the community that she's going to hold. That and old people that shut the TV off 6 years ago.
Crusaders, I'm Janet Huxley at the Crusade Radio Network News Desk with your Crusade Crucials for Wednesday, October 30th, 2024. This report is brought to you by Miles Franklin Precious Metals. With over $10 billion in sales and over 3 decades of experience, Miles Franklin will handle all your precious metal needs. For the Mike Church Show special price list, email them info@milesfranklin.com. In the market report, the Dow Jones closed down 0.36% at last close, while the S&P was up 0.16%, and the NASDAQ was up 0.78%. In National Day calendar news, today is National Candy Corn Day. In the late 1800s, George Reniger of Wonderly Candy Company created candy corn. His sweet treat represented the bright colors of corn kernels, and originally candy corn was yellow, orange, and white. It's also National Publicist Day. On October 30th, 1906, the New York Times printed verbatim the very first press release written by Ivy Lee, the father of modern PR. Ivy Lee represented the Pennsylvania Railroad. It's also National Speak Up for Service Day. And our quote of the day, "It is simply impossible to lead without the aid of prayer a virtuous life." St. John Chrysostom. And our saint of the day, St. Alphonsus Rodriguez. You're listening to Crusade Radio Network News.
Hey, my pitmaster bros, it's summer, and I want to make sure you have everything you need to rule your family's barbecue taste buds. Remember to smoke your meats at low temps for long times with southern hardwoods like pecan and mesquite. And to make sure you've got the best blend of seasoning there is, stock up on my award-winning Beast in Butt Rub. Right now, you can get 2 bottles for just $20, our biggest discount ever. To claim this deal and get my new 50-50 sweet and fire rib recipe, head on over to shop.mikechurch.com. That's shop.mikechurch.com.
Did you know that the rosary began as a tool to give laity a form of common prayer, like what was being prayed in monasteries? And monasteries were praying all 150 psalms from the Bible. But most laity couldn't afford a Bible, and most couldn't read, so they began praying the Our Father 150 times a day. Today, the rosary is prayed by millions, and each one is a work of art. There is no finer maker of this art than Maggie O'Connell and the Little Bayou Rosary. Find her rosary creations today at shop.mikechurch.com.
Folks, back in the day when women were women and men weren't, you only needed a half dozen resources to keep up with the news. It's almost impossible to stay informed without previewing and fact-checking till your eyes turn MAGA red. That's why you should sign up for my new daily email newsletter, The Church Doctrine Daily, with my quote of the day, lead show topic, and 3 stories Crusaders can't do without. Subscribing is easy and free at mikechurch.com/dude.
Coming to you live from the Never Gillette Studios, this is the soy and almond milk-free paradise called The Mike Church Show.
Hey, little sister, what have you done? Sister, who's the only one? Hey, little sister, who's your Superman? Hey, little sister, who's the one you want? Hey, little sister,
shotgun. It's a master.
Start again.
It is.
It's a nice day for a white wedding.
The fastest 3 hours in all of radio, playing the best decade 80s bumper music known to exist to mankind. Mike Church Show is on the Crusade Radio Network here on a Wednesday, 6 days out from Election Day 2024. We are your home for news, talk, and campaign radio, and will be all the way through the night of Tuesday, November the 5th. That's next Tuesday, and if need be and if necessary, on the 6th, and hopefully it's wrapped up by then. Somebody pointed this out earlier in the chat room. How is it possible? You start thinking about the internet age. How is it possible that with hand-written or punched or chalk marked or pencil marked, like an SAT score or whatever, ballots cast day of, that all 3 news networks and all 48 lower states, within 4 hours of the polls closing in any election, name it, could project who had won the state, who had won the House of Representatives, et cetera, et cetera. Why is it now only recently that now you have to wait? What? What are they saying? 2 and 3? We may not know for 2 or 3. What? You may not know for 3 weeks? How's that possible? You know, there are lawsuits that are being waged out there already with people going like, well, you know what? That's not going to happen. Because this is what Steve Bannon was talking about when he goes like, day after, dude, you better start posting results within 24 hours. Any of this crap that drags on after any amount of hours, they start putting cardboard newspaper up in boxes at the in downtown Detroit. You know, there was and this is what I want to talk to George Webb about. There is going to be an army, literally, of citizen journalists at the place, and they're going to record every nanosecond of this. This is not going to be, hey, rush to the scene of the crime. They're already going to be there staked out days before to record who's coming in and who's going out. They're just going to sit out there. They're just going to roll tape all day long. And this is as a preventative. And again, I think the Trump campaign should come out and should say that should come out and reiterate, you cheat and you're going to get caught and you're going to jail. Dangle that, have the felon dangle the felon. You don't want to be wanted like Alphonse Capone like me. So this is all now, it's coming at you fast, folks. Faster than anyone thinks. All right, play digital media file, Kevin O'Leary, number 6. Digital media file number 6. We'll call George Webb. We tried. Didn't we? Yeah, okay.
Here's the way to look at it. The biggest business in America is the federal government. It's a business. There's no
growing
question
bigger
about
every day.
Absolutely. Who has the executional skills and the track record to even look at this problem, regardless of what elements are going to be cut? He doesn't have a plan yet. There's no other individual like Elon Musk. And the way to measure it is a very simple measure. And I've worked for some of these people. I always go back to Steve Jobs. Some people are, 50% noise and 50% signal. By signal, meaning how much of the day do you spend on your mandate, your job, or whatever your objectives are. Steve Jobs was 85% signal. Elon Musk is 100% signal. People criticize him for his social skills, but there is no man on earth that's achieved what he's done. So to give him any disrespect is a mistake. When he says he can find $2 trillion, I think you should let him go look for it. We've never really looked at the federal government this way, and if anybody could do it and has the track record to do such, it would be him. Why? And I disagree with Larry 100%. What are you talking about? We've got to go find $2 trillion. We've got to go find $5 trillion. We've got to figure out how to solve this problem. We need every idea. And I love the concept of taking somebody from the outside in, but you've got to have the president backing this individual. This is a specific mandate to go identify savings. Otherwise, it won't be taken seriously by any agency. The concept is release the hounds. Let them in there.
Release
and
the
then
hounds.
Come back with a shopping list of ideas. And let's debate it. Why not? We need to find some savings. We know the government's fat.
It's not even talk.
Is he right, class? Class, I wish he wouldn't have shot it low at $2 trillion. When Lunkin asked him, I wish he would have said $4 trillion. I think we can chop $4 trillion. If it's $6.5 trillion, let's think about this. The year that Trump was inaugurated in 2017, it spent a little less than $2 trillion. What is going on here? I think we've got numbers crossed here because he's telling me that he's calling us. Hold on, folks. Play a soundbite. Play anything. I don't care. Play the next one. Play Frank LaRose, Ohio Secretary of State. Okay. We're trying desperately to get George Webb on the phone. This happens every time that we try and do phone. He calls us, it goes straight to voicemail. We call him, and it goes straight to his voicemail. Okay, he's calling me. Okay, George, you're on speaker.
Hey, I'm on the air now.
Yeah, I'm just going to put you on my phone. But we're trying to call you, and it's going to your voicemail. You're trying to call me, and you're going to voicemail. So the demons are doing a really good job. This is the NSA and the CIA at work trying to keep you off air.
I think so. This is crazy. Normally I call right in, so we'll get right into the news then, I guess, huh?
Well, no, I could just have you on speakerphone, and we'll just do it like this.
Okay, great.
You know, see, the audience is really excited because they're going like, now that's really live talk radio, King Dude.
Well, yeah, and here in Michigan, going all over the state, going to Kalamazoo yesterday, going to Lansing, the state capital, going to all these places where all these clandestine meetings are happening. Right? We got Gretchen Whitmer, who's the witch of Michigan. Right? She's meeting with Kamala in Kalamazoo. They're having a beer to show how they all are like guys, and then Hillary's in Detroit, and then we've got all the folks over in Grand Rapids with Eric Prince and Blackwater. So we really had it all yesterday. Yesterday was a fun day.
Now tell me what it is that you're doing to because I see you're all over the map on this post of yours this morning. And I'm looking at the post going there, okay, I need to understand. Are you guys proposing like you're going to go place citizen journalists with their phones and video cameras to record outside the Cobo Center, for example, and just be staked out going like, you're not going to get away with it. If you try to ship a truck in here this year, we're going to get named, photo ID, license plate, we're going to get size and make of the tire in the car. Is that what's going on?
Well, we're going to do a lot of stuff before the election. I'm not talking about being at the TCF Center before the polls close, but after the polls close, the Cobo Arena. If you remember if Trump won 3,100 counties, Hillary won 80, something like that. So the vote shenanigans are going to happen at those 80 big cities, right? And the major voting centers in those 80 counties are where the shenanigans are going to happen. This happened in 2020 with this TCF Center. Remember, we all went to bed at 3:00. Trump was expanding the lead, and then it went away. So what we really want to do is stop the after-election voting. So we're not trying to intimidate voters or anything like that. Really trying to stop the buses that are coming in on Wednesday, the Thursday buses, the Friday buses. And if you remember the argument that was made by Mark Elias of Perkins Coie, which is the DNC law firm, who I've gone to battle with in court over the Podesta Group, and the Podesta Group folded. But that's another story. But Mark Elias is the one who wanted to keep the polling centers open because he said the voters didn't understand that was the last day that they could vote.
Right.
Right. And so let's keep the voting open for Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And then they basically kept the voting open and unloaded the buses. We were there at the bus stations. They were unloading the buses until they had enough votes so that they could win Michigan. And that's what happened in Michigan. So I don't know if that's what's happening in other states. We have people in Pittsburgh watching the Pittsburgh polls, but this is the idea of citizen journalism. We're not trying to intimidate anybody. Or, you remember the Greg Phillips thing that and Dinesh D'Souza did, the 2,000 mules or 1,000 mules, where they were filming before the election. And then that got into charges of voter intimidation. This is after the election. We're filming after the election, and the bus is unloading folks and saying, hey, what's going on here? The election's over, and we're busing in people from other states to vote.
So I love the title of the Substack today. Crossover Cash beats Russian sniper girls on the campaign trail.
You always got to throw the Russian sniper girls in. Remember, before Elon started giving $1 million out to all the participants who would sign his petition, the petition isn't a promise to vote either. It's saying you support the First Amendment or the Second Amendment. It's not party affiliated, and he doesn't tie it to voting. So therefore, it's not payment to vote. But before we had the $1 million a day lotto, $1 million a day winners that Elon's giving out in all the swing states, $100 to sign up his petition in Pennsylvania right now, and then $1 million chance to win that night, at the Elon event. But before that, we only had sniper girls. We only had Russian sniper girls coming in, and you could get your picture taken with a sniper girl. That's all we had before this.
And there's some interesting stats that are coming out. George Webb, citizen journalist, investigative journalist at Real George Webb 1 at x.com, and george.webb.substack.com on the Dude Maker. Well, he's actually on my phone. This is the only way. Look, we're willing to get web any way we can. So this is what we have to do. Is what we have to do. You post some interesting stats. We're seeing stats that are similar coming in Wisconsin and Arizona. Turning Point USA or Turning Point Action is keeping track of the early voting, and right now a historic rout is occurring. And that is in every swing state, Republican turnout is beating Democrat turnout. I haven't seen an exception. Have you?
Mm-mm. No, and it's a 10-point swing in Pennsylvania where Elon's given out the $100. So Elon's really having a big impact here in the swing states. He's going to voters. He's reactivating voters who just, are kind of discouraged voters or whatever, and getting them out. And we even had a tax collector win one of the $1 million things. It's like, oh my God, can we nullify that? But anyway, he's really making a big difference. And here's the play here for the deep state. The deep state, Victoria Nuland, all the players, the Tony Blinkens, they're going to say that this is Russian interference, that Elon's a Russian operative. Elon had some deals with SpaceX way back when he was trying to get a rocket for SpaceX. He ended up going with a TRW rocket, but he was talking to the Russians for a while. He's talking to the Russians because they have 11 time zones. Starlink needs terrestrial uplinks as the, satellites go around the world to do Starlink. So they're saying, he's in contact with Putin, and this $1 million a day isn't coming from Elon and his $130 billion cash stash. It's coming from Putin. So they're going to challenge this election. We don't know. They could even render, I know, Mike, this sounds crazy, but they could even render, kidnap, abduct Elon at some point along the way as a Russian spy.
I said this on the show today. I actually said this earlier today. What are they going to do? Are they going to claim that Elon is Russia, and they're going to use the deep state to arrest him? I don't put anything past these people.
Fiona Hill, you remember Fiona Hill? She was the one who was, stealing stuff off the Resolute desk in Trump's Oval Office. I mean, when you're willing to go that far to steal stuff off the president's desk, you're basically a spy to push Russia. You saw her in the impeachments, her testimony. She's back out saying this new version of Russia, which is Musk Russia. And so I don't put it past them. And the thing is about abducting Trump at this point, they really missed their last opportunity here in Michigan and Novi, where they had a lot of the Russian girls in the past, a lot of the Russian men as well, but a lot of the operatives that Paul Whelan brought into the country, they missed it. That's it. We're sort of done with abducting Trump. Now they could abduct Elon, right? And now start a whole new Russia, and that would grab headlines. And so I don't put it past him at all.
Okay, so with Real George Webb 1 at x.com and georgewebb.substack.com. George, I worked for Sirius Satellite Radio for 13 years. 6 of those years where we were basically married at the hip to XM, so it was Sirius XM. I can tell you that in 1999 and in 2000, that there was no launch vehicle that the Sirius, it started out as CD radio in the 90s, but then it became Sirius in 1994, that Sirius Satellite Radio, that they had to go to the Cosmodrome to launch their 3 birds. So that would make me a Russian interloper too.
I actually interviewed the NASA gal who did the contracts at the Cosmodrome there in Kazakhstan. And, it doesn't matter how thin the thread is, as long as there's some kind of thin thread that they can tie back to Russia, that you went to a hockey game where Ovechkin had a hat trick, anything where they can link you, Mike, you're going to go down with all of them. You're going to be out there in front of the congressional committee. And when I think of you, and now's the time that Elon kind of was going through his paces with Starlink and Tesla when you were doing Sirius XM radio, you might be considered the Tesla of XM radio. You might be considered the Starlink of XM radio.
Oh. When do I get my New York Times hit piece like Tucker? I got completely shafted. I got screwed. I so wanted to be in on that hit piece.
I think Twitter is going to come around. You know, everybody goes through their stages of, I think I can do it myself. And Elon went through that with Tesla, and then he hired in, I think it was Eberhard, the guy with the car, with Tesla. And then the same thing he got with the, I can't remember the guy's name, at Starlink. He needs a Mike Church, right?
Yeah, he does.
To run X. I'm totally serious. He needs a Mike Church, somebody who knows radio, and I think I'd like to have him be on the investigative team. But he needs the same kind of pros from Dover that he brought in at Tesla and Starlink.
You know, Kevin O'Leary made this point yesterday, George, on the phone with Real George Webb. Literally, folks, you see how much I love you guys? I'm using my phone because we couldn't make the connection any other way. Literally on the phone with George Webb, Real George Webb 1 at X.com. Kevin O'Leary was making the point. This is why I think that they're going to take a serious look at doing what we're talking about to Elon. Of course, they're going to have to do it in broad daylight, but I don't know. Are they that desperate? Maybe they are. Kevin O'Leary was on with Neil Cavuto yesterday, or someone, and he said, "Well, you know what? $2 trillion. That's a good start." But he said that Elon Musk is like a 100% guy. Most people are 50%. They talk that they're going to do this, that, and the other, and they do 50% of it. Steve Jobs, he said, for example, was I'm going to do this and that, and he was an 80% guy. Elon's 100%. If Elon says we're going to, we can cut $2 trillion, I think I'm getting better. I'm working on my Elon impersonation. I think the number is actually closer to $2 trillion. I think $2 trillion is what I think we could cut, and I think that's just a good starting place, place to start. I think that he's serious. Can you imagine being in the federal bureaucracy and being a target, and there are so many agencies that you can start at? What wouldn't you do to stop him?
Mike, your imitation is getting better and better. And I'm sorry, I'm laughing so hard. I can't. I think it's two. I'm sorry. I'm in hysterics here, laughing at your imitation of Elon. Oh, it's so good. But I agree with you. This Department of Government Efficiency, this Dogecoin thing, he's trying to kind of recast Doge, which was kind of a failed launch for cyber crypto. He's trying to relaunch that as Department of Government Efficiency, and then he's talking to Trump about this. There's a lot of conflicts of interest with his space contracts with NASA, but anyway, I do think that he might put that all in escrow like they have to do, and come in and just whack Department of Education, just right off the bat, put it back to the schools, to the states. That's the easy one, right?
Low hanging fruit. That's low. That's easy.
Low hanging fruit. Yeah, that's low hanging fruit. Is Department of Education. Put it all back on the school boards. Put it back to the PTA. Put it back to the counties. Put it back to the states. And it wouldn't hurt a thing. All those bureaucrats could go find real jobs. And so I think, there are agencies like that could be consolidated. Who knows? I mean, how many people have enforcement arms and enforcement divisions? The IRS has all these people that carrying AR-15s. What the heck is that all about? That's so they don't have to go outside their agency to do raids with AR-15s, right? So I think there's a whole bunch of things that Elon could do, and I think he would do it 100%.
Okay, final question for Real George Webb 1 at X.com, and then george.webb.substack.com on the Substack. And y'all should all subscribe and be paying subscribers. I lead by example. I pay my whatever it is you ask every month, and I'm happy to do it.
Yep.
I'm happy to do it. My final question is this. I have had several people tell me that they think that the steal is actually going to happen after Trump wins. And that they're going to concede that, so what? You won. You're not getting inaugurated. We're not going to let you be inaugurated. You got anything on that?
I think there's going to be 10 or 12 different things that they're going to throw. I mean, you've got everything from this Russia to Musk Russia to the TCF Center keeping these places open. You've got undue influence with Trump Russia, talking directly to Putin for whatever reason. They're going to try everything possible, right, including rendering and probably assassination. We still have the two Iranians running around.
That's right.
So we're going to have to cover it all. It's going to be like a market basket of Trump takedowns. It's not just going to be one thing.
All right. Speaking of market baskets, after the election, I need to get my market baskets, my stall at your media basket up there, at your media compound up there, and we'll work on that. We'll work on the radio broadcasting. All of you follow George Webb on Twitter it's real George Webb, the number 1 at x.com and georgewebb.substack.com. All right, brother. Look forward to having you as part of. Maybe you can chime in on our election night coverage next Tuesday. We'll start at 5 p.m. and be on until they tell us who won or lost, or until we proclaim who won or lost. And we'll look forward to speaking to you next week. Keep up the great work. And hey, tall boy, keep your head down.
I will. And keep going on that Elon invitation. It's already hilarious, but keep going.
All right, George. All right. God bless you, brother.
Care.
Okay, man.
Bye-bye.
All right. So, you people are very hard to please. You're very I would say hard to please, but I'll get to Elon. You don't worry about me getting to Elon. You need to get the subscription, okay? CrusadeChannel.com/offer. Don't worry about me working the voices out. I will have it nailed like Michael Jackson nailed the moonwalk. Now, we are live all day on Tuesday. We're going to be live whenever we need to be today. We'll probably broadcast the Trump events. I think there's 2 today, right here on the Crusade Radio Network. Please, please, please donate. CrusadeChannel.com/donate. Shop in our store. Shop.mikechurch.com. Become a Founders Pass member. CrusadeChannel.com/offer. Brand new KV Turley and Turley's Believe It or Else, brand new midday show, all coming your way here on the Crusade Radio Network. When news breaks out, campaign news breaks out, we will break in. We'll see you tomorrow or probably later today. God bless you and Mary keep you. Thanks for watching, listening.